All right, man. This is FlipCast episode 2 or 3. I'm doing 3 of these in the next 48 hours. So, uh, the goal is to I talked about it on Twitter. The goal is to have this be like the Joe Rogan experience of anime and manga.
Well,
Uh,
then we got to get high then, right?
I mean, wait, is it still against the law there?
Yeah, it's still against the law here, man.
Oh man, that sucks. I
It's
mean,
got to be a matter of time, though, surely.
my state just passed it, and I don't even smoke weed. So like, I'm not even taking full advantage of it.
At least you have the option, though. That's the
At
thing.
least I have the option. Yeah, that's true. But hey,
Yeah,
let's get started, dude. You just got married.
I did. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you very
You
much.
guys
Yeah.
you guys did a much nicer version of what we did. We just went to Tennessee. You guys went to fucking Croatia.
Oh man, it was mad. Like, because after we got married, we went for like a photo shoot in Dubrovnik Old Town, which is basically, if you've ever watched Game of Thrones, Westeros, like King's Landing. That's that. And we're going through, and it's like 30 degrees, it's boiling hot, and like there's hundreds and hundreds of people. We're taking these photo shoots there, and there are people all along the castle walls just looking down at us, and there's crowds, and they're all taking pictures and stuff, and we're standing there like these two English people just kind of like stood about like taking pictures. It's hilarious, but yeah, it was really good, man. So yeah, she didn't back out. She turned up, which was nice. So
So
so yeah.
how long did you two date before you guys got married?
Well, we've been together 5.5 years. Yeah.
Damn.
But
Congratulations,
yeah,
man.
but I knew when I asked her it'd be fine because we'd already bought a place. So I was like, if she's got a mortgage with me. If she says no, we've got a bigger issue than her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of knew it was quite safe. So yeah, it's good. And then Lohali got married on
Yeah,
Saturday as well.
congratulations,
So,
Brian.
yeah,
That
I
was
spoke to him briefly yesterday. He just said, I think he just said like I didn't die or I made it or something like that.
he
So yeah.
actually sent me an invite to his wedding. And
Oh, bless
I
him.
was like, dude, I gotta work, but I would love to go. I would so love to have been there.
Yeah, man, it's sweet, man. Like I think it's a stressful time, but it's a good time. I mean, the reason we did it abroad on our own, like there was no family or anything, so it kind of eradicated any kind of stress. It wasn't until we got back and we had our big like family and friends wedding, like reception.
That is exactly what we did. When I met my wife, when I met Taylor, I knew she was gonna be the girl I spend the rest of my life with, and I asked her to marry me. She said yes, and then around that time, dude, just family, like health problems. Like there was
Mm,
no way that we could have planned a wedding, um, and still because there's a lot of stuff that goes into planning a wedding. So there was no way that we could have done that with with my grandmother and her Alzheimer's and my grandfather and his dementia. So we just said screw it, and we went to Tennessee. Me and her, we got married outside at Percy Warner Park. It was beautiful, stone steps with like moss growing over it. Uh, funny thing is, we got married. We had like a pastor outside. Just me and her, and then there was like a group of like I want to say like maybe college girls at the bottom. And after we kissed and said I do, they were like clapped for us. So like I'll like always have that memory. But man, Croatia is so much more beautiful than fucking
it,
Tennessee.
I mean, it was kind of crazy because where we did it, it was like a viewpoint. So it was like imagine like a tower on like a castle, and there's nothing else, and just the backdrop was just sea, like the Adriatic Sea, and there was
Man.
just nothing. And we had violins playing, and like the person playing violin, she played whatever we wanted. So we just had like I had her play like it was like Def Leppard, Stained, and Biffy Clyro, and it was just awesome, man.
That's
Like,
awesome.
and yeah, it was just one of those things where it was just so hot, like because like us English people were just not used to heat, and I think it was like 32, no wind, and I'm standing there in glasses. I'm like, oh god, like I just want like because you can't wear like shades or anything like that, especially not at weddings. So I'm like, I'm being blinded right now, and but it was really good, man. Like, and then um, we did the photo shoot, went to have food, and then we just went out and got absolutely shit faced. It was unbelievable. It got to the point by the end of the day, my wife was like, "I can't see." Like she generally couldn't see. It was brilliant. And then you just come back because the thing is like most people that have the kind of conventional wedding, that they have the day with the family there, then they have the reception. They actually don't see each other that day, pretty much, like just during the ceremony, and
Yeah.
then they're like hosting, running around and stuff. And that's like when we had our reception, we were just running around and like making sure everyone's happy. It's like spinning plates. So I'm kind of glad that we did it the way that we did it. Otherwise, you'd have that big day, spend all that money, have this big experience, and then you wouldn't have really even seen each other.
So how long is the flight from England to where you guys
It's only about 2.5 hours.
That's exactly the length I took to get to fucking Florida, which is a shithole of a state.
But that's the thing, man. When you're in the UK, like in Europe, everywhere is like maximum 3.5 hours.
That's what blows my mind, because when I talked to my grandmother, and she grew up in Sicily, and when they eventually when her and my grandfather got married, they moved to like northern Italy, and she's like, yeah, for breakfast we would just drive to Switzerland.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and she's like, oh, I love Switzerland. I'm like, how often do you go? And she's like, well, we used to go like every other day. And then,
it's crazy, right?
And then I've had friends who who live in Germany, and if they want to go have breakfast in another country, they just drive. And
yeah, you can do that. Like even here, like the UK, like because we go to Berlin once a year, and we get to Berlin in like an hour and a half.
That's so insane, dude. That's just, I'm so jealous of that, because I love different cultures, but it feels like the U.S.'s culture is like racism and then like more racism. So it's just like
sprinkle of racism here and there with a little bit more.
It's like the South hates the blacks, and then like up here hates Mexicans. It's just like, oh man.
Oh, I mean, we get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like especially in like London, it is the melting pot of culture because of the kind of like immigration like policy that we had. I say had because we don't know what's happening with Brexit, but like,
what is going on with you guys right now?
I don't even know. I don't know. Even the politicians don't know. So apparently, we're leaving the Brexit. We're leaving the EU, and I think it's like 50, 60 days. I don't know. But I mean, you look at London. I mean, I grew up in London, and there are times that you could be like the only white kid there. Like on the street that you live in, stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, you got the benefits of all worlds because you got like all the good food and stuff like that, but then at the same time there was a lot of racism, man. Like where I lived in south of London was kind of like a rough area, so it was predominantly like a rough kind of like it was really rough, like just gangs and stuff like that. And then the school that I went to, it was like right where the River Thames is, which is like bang in London. So it was like, because I think in America you guys have it like district wise, so it would be just all kids from your district, but because where we were bang in the central London, they just had everyone come in, so schools were just a nightmare. It was just like kids of all races just beating the shit out of each other.
So when you say London has gangs, because you guys don't have guns, like do the gangs just tickle you?
There's been over 110 stabbings in 100 days. So someone dies on average every night in London. It's in the news every single day, and it's crazy. So yeah, I mean,
crazier that like we get so used to that, like
yeah, it blows my mind.
Especially here, man, we have over a mass shooting a day.
I think the crazy thing for us seeing it from overseas is the difference is we're used to not having the guns. I see where there's the issue for you guys, because like if someone was to all of a sudden say we're taking away the guns and you had a gun, then I can understand why people might be a bit like, well, but I mean at the same time you do feel a little the danger is, I don't know, it's crazy when we see it from abroad. We're kind of looking at it just like this, like burning building. That's how we kind of see America sometimes. Like,
yeah, I mean,
because logic, what seems like logical, you from over here, you just go like, well, just get rid of the fucking guns. But it's not as black and white as that. People that don't want guns feel the need to get them just to protect themselves, and I understand that.
That is exactly where I am in, and I mean, like for instance, my state, they do a background check. You gotta go through a whole process to get a gun, but there are states here that you can just go to Walmart and get a gun just freely.
Well, I was watching that Dave Chappelle special, and when he talked about,
that's such a good special too.
Yeah, when he talked about getting the gun, he said he walked in there as a sweaty kind of anxious black man, just like, I need a gun, and the guy was just like waving, like, which one do you want? Do you want the one that kills chickens or the one that kills people? You want this one? Like, it's just like that kind of blew my mind, and but yeah, I mean, like, the thing is like even mental health checks, just because you pass a check doesn't mean you can't become unstable after. Do you know what I mean? That's just like that's the scary thing. And once you put the guns out in the world, you can't take them back, because as soon as you start going, if let's say the police start going door to door saying hand over your guns, that's when you do have a legitimate civil war starting or something like that. Like especially in places like in the south of like Texas or something like that. Like I
Man,
just
Texas people are wild, and I just honestly I feel like there's no way to I don't think there's a solution to the mass shootings.
there isn't,
Unless,
unfortunately.
unless we start taking, unless we have universal health care and then that also gets incorporated with mental health care, I don't think we can do anything. Because I think you're right. The guns are already out there. You can't take them away. But we need, our country is just so messed up. I mean, it's a great place to live. Obviously, every country, that's free is a great place to live. But I think if you love something, you're born somewhere, you have the right to criticize it, and I don't think a lot of people understand that, because there are people who so love this country that any criticism to it is seen as like tyranny, as like you're going against something that's sacred. But we have a lot of problems in this country. We have a lot of unhappy people. We work more hours than like any other country in the world, and we're poor. Like, there's a lot of just inequality here, and I think a lot of it is mental health issues on top of.
Well, I think one of the big problems is the fact that the government that you guys have doesn't seem to recognize what the actual problem is. They think it's fucking video games or something, and it's like, no. First of all, you've got more guns than people, and you've got you don't have a healthcare system. People are broke, and they're just like, and also you put a gun in anyone's power, they're going to feel a couple of feet taller than they normally are. And when you've got someone that's just unstable or they're going through domestic problems, you're naturally going to have that. And a lot of people will make, like, I know Bill Burr had in his special, he's like, just because you've got a pool in your backyard, you're technically more likely to drown, but you wouldn't. it's not necessarily the same thing, because like you've got you look at Japan, man, like they're probably the biggest consumer of video games and electronics in the world. They don't go around killing each other. I've been there, man. Like, you can walk through those places at night on your own, you feel fine. But America, you're a dad. I mean, it's going to be a time when you got to send your kid to school, man, and they're doing drills in schools. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a terrifying thing.
Also, like, just like you said, like walking freely. Also, like, we're guys. We don't ever have to worry about potentially being raped or anything like that, especially being a dad to a little girl. Like, like, our campus here in the town that we're in is, at one point, I don't know if it still does, but it was the highest rape per capita, like, in a college.
Yeah.
So, like, I've known plenty of girls that I've like gone to school with who have been raped or sexually assaulted on campus, and it just seems like it's not a thing that just doesn't get taken care of. And
well, the thing is when you're in America as well, it's like, like, our biggest city, London, has 7 million people in it. You have 350 million people. Like, you've got such a bigger pool of crazy people and stuff like that. You add guns into that, and like, everyone's on like fucking painkillers and sleeping tablets or whatever it is.
Speaking of painkillers, the company that got sued for the opioid crisis just filed bankruptcy so that they don't have to pay out. So, good on them. So congratulations, Big Pharma. You guys are doing great. But let's get away from the depressing stuff, dude.
Sure.
Let's talk about Khabib.
Oh
man, dude,
the monster.
So that's one of the only fights, I think the first fight actually, that has been on because they were in Abu Dhabi, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was because of the time difference. I was actually at the restaurant at my like normal like early hours prepping, and I think the fight finished an hour before we opened. So like I was cutting onions and produce and just like almost had a heart attack when he had him in the headlock. I was like, oh no,
it looked deep as well, man. Like, well, when Poirier had him in that guillotine as well, I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, go on. And even though I love Khabib, like I still love Dustin. Like, there's something about him. He's just a great
guy. He's a good
dude. But I think it was kind of those things, like, as soon as Khabib got out, I was like, you just poked the bear, dude. Like, he's gonna come and smash now. And
who do you think's gonna win, Tony or Khabib?
I think Tony's the only guy that has the keys to unlock Khabib, but I do think Khabib still wins that.
I don't like Tony, like, at all. I think Tony is way too cocky. He talks way too much.
Tony Ferguson is The Rock before people liked him in the WWF. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I see him. Like, he talks like him. He has the confidence. Tony Ferguson, though, is an absolute warrior. Though the only thing is, I feel like that he's had a few injuries in the past. I know he's got the longest win streak in UFC history. I want to say. I think he's like 12 on the bounce at the moment, or something like that. Maybe it might even be more than that.
11, right?
I want to say so.
But he's 28-0 in his professional career.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Nuts. And even if you say that that's not all UFC, that's still grown ass men, man. Like, I don't care what you say. And yeah, but Tony, he's just a weird guy. I don't think I've ever seen him run out of like energy ever.
It's like that dude snorts coke before a fight. He's insane. And his elbows are made out of steel. And
he'll double elbow you at the same time. Like he's a weird, he's a freak, and I love Tony Ferguson. Like, I mean, just to watch him, you can't feel compelled watching. Like, you can't say you've never watched a fight where it's not been, But this fight has been needed to happen so many times, and it's just fallen through. And it's almost like a joke, because last time was the time that he completely detached his ACL or whatever it was. He got that injury falling over. But I mean, just Khabib, he's just.
Wasn't Tony the one that had the mental breakdown not too long ago?
Yeah, well, he's getting divorced or something like that. I don't know, but this fight needs to happen. And Khabib, I absolutely adore Khabib. Though, I mean, Khabib is like the most humble, real guy. I love watching his videos from the gym, him and Daniel Cormier and stuff. Like, I just,
if he wins this fight against Tony, and then wins one more, he'll be 30-0. He can just walk off into the sunset. Like,
apparently, he's gunning for GSP though. He wants GSP to come back and have that fight. And I still think he wins that fight as well.
Oh yeah, but GSP in his prime versus Khabib now. Oh man, that would be.
Yeah, I know, but the way that I see it is if Bisping did okay against him, Bisping lived with him, and Bisping towards the end, wasn't the hottest kid on the block. I think if he could hang with him, Khabib's going to absolutely destroy him. Dude, but then again, GSP is a really clever fighter. Like, his game intelligence is unlike anyone else, to be fair.
That dude is. I think GSP is the GOAT.
I'd say, I would have said. So you're talking pound for pound. There were people like I would have said Stipe for a little while, but until obviously he got beat. But then he came back against DC, which was good. You can't not say that John Jones isn't up there as well.
I do not like that man.
No, it's true. But then at the same time, you have, if he's not that guy, you don't. I don't know. Like, you're talking GOATs, man. Like, you'd have to put him up there. But then I'd say Amanda Nunes is probably the GOAT if we're talking UFC.
Is a monster.
I mean,
phenomenal.
The greatest female fighter of all time, hands down.
And seeing her win, and every time she wins, and like she gets like teary eyed and she celebrates, I get so happy for her.
She's the most passionate fighter there is, man. Oh, yeah. Like, Dustin's up there. Don't get me wrong, and but yeah. But then again, can we just say Cowboy is probably just the coolest guy on the planet? I love Cowboy.
Cowboy reminds me of my dad. Like, my dad grew up in Colorado, just like he moved to Colorado and lived there for a decade. And like, that's my dad's favorite fighter. It's just because he's like, oh, I fucking love Cowboy. Like, he likes the same music as me. And
yeah, I love a fighter that can get beat, come back, and not give a shit. That's why I love Nate so much as well. Like,
oh my God, Nate, the baddest motherfucker belt.
Yeah, I mean that fight, man. Like,
I just think it's funny that Conor was he's still such a star, but he's got like rape allegations going on against him right now. But like,
oh man, yeah, like, it's bad.
It's so weird that my two favorite fighters now, Nate and Khabib, both beat Conor.
And I would actually argue that I don't even think that. I still think Nate, it was at least a draw and a win in those two fights. I don't think Conor really walked away with that win. I don't think it's 1-1.
Where I wasn't upset.
Yeah, I'd love. Though. It was, and like that. They put Nate on the map for sure.
I mean, Nate's also my dad's second favorite fighter. It's just so weird because my dad was never into fighting until Conor. Conor is like that gateway drug for a lot of people.
He's the Linkin Park, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it happens. You want to get into heavy metal, Linkin Park will get you in the door, and then all of a sudden you're listening to heavier stuff. And Conor's did that, and Ronda did that as well, But then also bigger boys and bigger girls always come, like,
I mean, Rhonda got
Rhonda,
cocky, way too cocky, just like
oh,
Connor.
she was fighting at a time where, the talent wasn't there, and then the monsters came, Holly came, Cyborg came, and, you've even got like, what's her name? Like Fug Rose and stuff, like these animals in the women's division came through, and then, like it's the same with like, eventually someone always comes along, like a Francis gets introduced, like, sometimes
Francis Ngannou.
in Ghana, yeah, man, like he literally looks like a boss out of like Streets of Rage or something.
Well, he's gonna be in the next Fast and Furious. He
doesn't
signed on.
surprise me. Yeah.
So you watched the fight at your wedding reception.
Yeah, I had it on the screens. They were like,
was your wife upset?
No, she was fine because they said we've got 2 screens. And if you want, you can have like a montage of like your wedding pictures and stuff like that. But they weren't connected, so I was like, because the fight was on at a decent time. I was like, I've got BT Sport because over here we don't have to pay the pay-per-view for it.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, we've got if you pay for BT Sports, which is like a sports channel, it gets included in that.
Holy shit.
So I was like, I've got that, and so we had it up on the screen. So like,
you guys don't have guns and pay-per-views?
No, we get some pay-per-view, but even the pay-per-views that we get are cheaper. Like I remember there was the Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight. It was only £20 to watch.
I paid $100 for that.
Yeah, it was $20. It was $19.99 here. But yeah, we had it up, and like all me and my boys and that lot, we're all just getting absolutely shit-faced, screaming at the screens, and yeah, it was a blast, man. Like having your wedding reception, all your family and that lot, and you just watching Khabib smash. Like I was like, what was happening right now? I was in heaven,
So So a lot of people say nothing changes, but do you feel a difference now that you guys are married?
No, I mean, I think we'd been together 5.5 years. Like it didn't really feel. I think the only difference is when post starts arriving through the door with my surname as hers. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, I remember Amazon turned up at the house and they were like, "Oh, we've got one for Whiteford," and I was like, "Oh yes, it must mean that like." I've got like must be a new toy or book or something that's come through, and then it was just cat food that she'd ordered. I was like, gutted, like it, the things. But that's the thing, the guys have got it so easy because we don't have to do anything. She's got to change all this stuff. You got to spend all this money to change stuff as well, and I'm just like,
just same old, same
old, man. This is what you got,
dude. My wife, dude. I don't know about your wife, but I'm sure you think she's the best. I think we're both very. I think we're both very blessed. And congratulations to Brian. Hopefully everything went all right. I told him not to fall. I was like, don't fall, because I almost fell at my wedding day. But dude, just like you guys, we went to we like rented a house and we were gonna like it had this big bathtub. We're gonna have some fun afterwards. But we went to the melting pot and I got too drunk. And when we got back, we both were so miserable from being out in the sun. It was like 100 degrees. We just ate melting pot. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like it's like a fondue place. But I've been there twice, and every time I've been there, I've gotten sick. So I don't know. It's like they give you a bunch of raw meat and you cook it in like an oil or a sauce,
right?
And I don't think that's good. I don't think having like cross contamination of all these meats. So,
yeah.
So like I remember, and then I had too many drinks, and I remember just passing out in the tub and just being like, just gone, just like whatever, just done. But yeah, dude, our wedding reception was a blast. My mom put it on, because I am an only son, so she was like, I gotta throw you some party, and Italians give the best gifts, so we had like this massive party. My mom played a bunch of games. We had a bunch of we had this newlywed game because my cousin had just got married and my best friend had been married for like a year at that point. So it was like the 3 new couples, and we went through 20 questions, and we had like these big cardboard, and like they would ask like who does your husband think he is in bed, and who is he actually in bed. And my wife said I think I'm the Tasmanian devil, but really I'm like, God, some 1950s television show, like some black and white boring guy, but she loves that stuff. She loves it. So
silent.
So in her mind, she was like, that's wonderful. Like I love that he's so loving and kind. But I was like, I'm fucking boring. Like I got so offended. And then the second question that made the whole room gasp, and I'm sure all my relatives, because my whole family owns restaurants. I'm sure they've been here. It was, where's the weirdest place you've had sex at? And I wrote pizza place.
It was just like, good God.
Even though that's never happened, I just thought it'd be funny. You know,
Just to get a reaction out of them, yeah.
Just to get a reaction. That's always been a dream. Pizza place sex, but it's never happened.
Oh, that's a bucket list, isn't it? You're gonna have to make it happen. You've got the keys, quite literally.
I literally have the keys, and I live directly down the road. I'm gonna wake her up right now. We should try for that second kid.
Shh. Yeah, that's it.
So you guys are planning on having a kid next year?
Yeah, that's the plan anyway. So we were gonna kind of start this year to have it next year, but there's still stuff that we want to do. Like we want to go back to Japan and stuff like that. And we kind of my she's just in the last couple of months she's got the most insane job. So we're doing really well for money. So it's kind of like we want to enjoy this while we've kind of got the opportunity, because once a kid comes along, like that's it, so it's kind of like we want to kind of reap all of that. So that's the plan. But yeah, we are going to put one on pre-order soon, probably at the end of next year, and then have it the year after. But my parents, man, like every time we see them, they're like asking for dates and stuff like that. And, like, because they're like, yo, you're going to be 30 soon. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm still 28, And, but yeah, so soon, hopefully. But I can't wait, man. Like, I'm the one pushing for it. I mean, she wants it, but
I mean, she has to go through all the hell. Like, she has. That's
the thing, man. It's a very simple 2.5-minute job for me, and like for like for her, it's it's a
9-month ordeal.
Exactly.
Taylor was sick for literally the whole 9 months, every morning throwing up. Like,
yeah, but that's the thing. Like women, like all women, kind of have different experiences. I used to work with a woman, and she stayed thin for pretty much all of it, and then just towards the end, she had the bump. She got rid of it. She came back to work absolutely thin. She said, "Oh yeah, our baby sleeps. Said it didn't hurt at all. When it water broke, I had the baby within an hour. And then you get some people that are just like it goes the opposite way. They can't. They were at a good figure beforehand. They lose that figure. They can't get it back. They're stuck with the weight. They have a really bad experience. So it's kind of like you don't really know until you kind of roll that dice what number you're gonna get.
Just to give you some unsolicited advice, because my wife went through that. Postpartum can just hit in so many different ways, and like my wife, like she's beautiful. I think she's absolutely gorgeous, but in her mind, she's not perfect anymore. So I, like there's moments where you have to like, she's crying, you don't understand. You just have to be there, be sweet, just be loving, and do what you said. Enjoy your freedom now, because my goal was to go to Japan, and I was supposed to go to Japan, and 2 months into our marriage, we found out we were pregnant, and we weren't trying. We were kind of preventing, so it was like a surprise. And there's a song, it's a country song, I don't like country, but Kenny Chesney has a song called There Goes My Life, and it's like about all his plans just went through the window. But then it's actually a good song, but like the way he wrote it is like, then when his daughter is in college and she's leaving for college, like there goes his life. Like that was his whole life. So I love my little girl so much. She's the best thing ever. And I mean, I do regret not going to Japan sooner, but I can't wait to go to Japan with her, like in the future. Dude, man, she's so sweet. So we went on a vacation. So she got to see me almost every single day for 2 weeks, and then now, because this is our 3rd week back to work, not being able to see me every day, she has had like meltdowns, crying when I leave for work. She's acting up to like get me to like chase her and to like discipline her so I don't have to leave. And that's the most heartbreaking thing, is leaving your kid.
Well, that's because you're the superhero. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the thing, especially where she's always had mum. She finally got dad, and then dad's got to go again. Like that's tough, man. I used to have the same thing when I was growing up. My dad worked nights, and I never saw my dad. I used to leave messages out for him. And looking at back, I probably like really upset my dad. I remember I used to like leave my dad notes so that like I'd be like, "Oh, we miss you. We never see you," kind of thing. And my dad would obviously like wake up in the middle of the night, read it, go to work, come back. He wouldn't see us. But at the same time, what you're doing is necessary as well, like you're putting food on the table. It's a business as well, especially with the family business that you've got. There's a lot of responsibility there as well, and eventually it'll be fine. It's just at the time I can imagine it's really tough. I mean, I feel bad leaving my cat, so I mean, I can only imagine what it's like.
I mean, luckily we find like in a financial standpoint, we are well off enough to where Taylor can be a stay-at-home mom, and focus on the kid. Because I don't know. Now that I'm a dad, I'm like super like paranoid about everything. And especially like you hear stories all the time. Daycare center person beats up child. It's horrible stuff. So I'm glad that she's with her mom every day. Taylor is has been reading to her since day one. My kids loves Mumford & Sons. Like that's the only band she likes. She won't listen to my rap music. Won't listen to metal. She will dance to Mumford & Sons. Only the first album, though. So, I mean, that's a pretty good album.
Yeah, that shows a solid taste, to be fair.
But dude, it sucks working so much, honestly. Like, especially this last week has been hell week. It's been, I don't know if it's because people, like, the first week we went back, we were busy. Second week was hit or miss. But this week has been the most busy we've been probably all year. Like, it's been... Like usually we open at 4 and we're busy till about 8:39, and then we'll get like a small like 30-minute maybe hour window where everything's pretty chill, and then we'll get tables or like we'll get like the late bar crowd, and then we close and we clean up and everything. But it has been busy from 4 p.m. to close. Like,
jeez, I mean it's a good bad problem, right? Because it's great for business, but then you're like. Every time you see someone come through the door, you're like, "Oh, let me sit down," like that kind of thing.
It's a lot, but man, I definitely miss my wife and kid a lot. And then tomorrow, the kids got vaccinations, which that is not a good thing. She hates it. Like she knows, like the only time we go to that hospital is to get her shots, and she knows, like the moment we walk in, she's like, "Fuck this."
No, I know this place. Last time I left and it hurt. Yeah,
But let's talk about some manga, dude.
Let's do it, man.
We've talked about politics and
apologies for anybody watching. Just like this, like UFC guns. What?
So
we'll have to put timestamps on this one for people.
Yeah, I think I might, because it's been all over the place. But this is what I like about like with friends, like with you and like anyone else who's a friend, I just want it to be a natural conversation. I don't want it to be like a rigid structural thing.
Absolutely. That's the thing, you've got it, because otherwise that's the thing I like about podcasts, because they're very different. They're not interviews, they're not whatever. It's just meant to be hanging out and you see people's personalities through it. Otherwise you're just making YouTube videos as well, and it's like podcasts are meant to be different.
And the first episode was supposed to have Callum on.
Yeah.
And
my boy.
So we recorded it, I think, like, I want to say 2 days before we left for Florida. And we go to Florida. I get back, like, literally, I woke up at 1 in the morning, went to bed at 11 p.m. So, like, I got, like, no sleep. Woke up at 1 in the morning. We had to be on the plane by 4 something. We landed here at 10 a.m. I drove home an hour, and I went straight into work. Like, went straight into prepping. So I didn't get any sleep. So then, like, a couple days go by where, like, I'm trying to, like, regain my sleep schedule. And I also got, work and family. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to play some games on PC. And when I went to get on my PC, hard drive was fried. I mean, luckily I have two. I have a solid state, and then I have the, the shit tier cheap hard drive that just saved everything on. And Callum's interview is just gone. So,
oh man, all those people you talk shit about will never get to hear that.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody. We talk shit about Zach, you.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Speaking of Zach, man, Zach is killing it.
I absolutely love that guy, and yeah, I mean, I'm going to make it my life's mission to make sure that more people check him out because he's starting to upload a little bit more now. But the guy has got so much knowledge. He's the nicest guy.
And
He's
funny.
hilarious.
He is
he's so funny.
hilarious.
And the thing is as well, like I always say this, but like the people that just constantly put out haul videos, they get all the attention, and you got someone like Zach who puts out absolute fucking gold, like he's like his covered redesign videos as well, especially. It's just absolutely mind blowing. And he's the only person in our community that can do that stuff too. And it's just like he has something special. And yeah, man, like I love that guy. And yeah, he's actually starting a podcast with Callum as well,
which is awesome. I'm super.
So I mean, those two guys, they're perfect, and they literally have the exact same taste and everything as well.
I'm sure there's a trio of YouTubers who are pissed that there's another manga podcast.
That's what we were saying. It's just like just another one,
But dude, Zach, like seriously, I watched probably 5 of his videos tonight, even though I watched most of them already, and that dude is so subtly funny. Like he just does and says little things that,
considering he's Canadian, he's got a proper British sense of humor. Like it's very subtle. It's almost like not sarcastic, but it's all like it's all between the lines. The way stuff is delivered. And the thing is me and Zach, we went through a load of shit recently with the whole like manga piracy thing. Like we ended up on 4chan. It was crazy. There were people like I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of posts on 4chan with screenshots of what me and Zach were saying, people talking shit about us, and then literally got to the point where I was getting 100. I think I got about 150 to 200 tweets within the space of an evening. I had to turn my phone off. It was crazy. I had to delete absolutely everything because I was in so many threads of conversations. I was just getting attacked.
And I'm pretty sure Zach started all that, right? Didn't Zach start that?
I'd say Zach didn't start it, but he was definitely like a catalyst in it because he made that website Where Can I Read Manga, which has had over 100,000 site visits.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and he turned that out quick.
And that's a piece of piss to him. Like that, he threw that together just like whatever. Like the guy's seriously talented, and then I think the whole Manga Rock thing happened, and then me and Zach looked at each other and went, "Shall we?" And then it was perfect. I mean, like the other day, his video finally got more dislikes than it got likes. Mine was catching up, and like because for a non-haul video to blow up so quickly, like that video has already got like just under 2,000 views, and that was within like a couple of days, just because of Manga Rock and stuff like that. And it was such an emotional thing for people.
I actually recorded a video as a response to, because I watched your guys' debate, but I agree overall that piracy is bad, but I feel like you guys should have had somebody on there who is more in the middle. Because I think
the idea with it, a lot of people said, it's not really debate. I think the idea was because we'd had such a lot of the points that we were like the topics we were talking about were topics that people had said to us in defense of, say, piracy example. So we were kind of taking those topics and then discussing them. So it could seem as one-sided. I was surprised that we never got called a cuck, which was surprised on that live stream. No one, no one called us, like a Nazi or anything like that. So a bit disappointed to walk away like, man, no one hated. But it was an interesting time. It did great for us. It kind of, if anything, it made me learn a little bit more about the manga community because I always thought that like, oh, there's not that many of us, like you see this world, and then all of a sudden you talk about piracy, and then all these thousands of people that like I probably talked to about 200 new people, and then I saw 4chan. I was like, there's this whole other community that I didn't know existed.
I'm pretty sure the manga Reddit, like the main manga Reddit, has more subs than the anime Reddit. Like, manga's huge, but I think the people making videos is really niche.
It's crazy. I was just so surprised that like it's just like there was this whole other world of like manga fans, and then and they're not all nice. Like, that surprised me because I think I'd only ever met a few people that had like ever pissed me off in the kind of manga collecting scene or anything like that. But then it was just this whole other world, and it was quite cool to kind of learn about that and see this other world and stuff like that. And there were some really good points. Like my stance on it definitely changed through a few days. You mold over, you hear new points. I think if you don't listen to people and take in things and be open to kind of changing certain things or hearing things out, then I think you're a moron. You've got to be able to like be a sponge and take on points, and it was an interesting time. You kind of learn people that you do know a little bit better as well. Just get a better understanding and stuff like that. And it was a good thing overall. And hopefully, nobody died.
Like for instance, my stance on scans is that I'm pro scan, but don't charge people for it. Like I like there's definitely a gray line. Like if you're going to like people who buy the magazines, scan it and fan translate it, that's a very grassroots feeling, and I think that's a very positive thing.
It feels like tray taping in a way.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine for that. But when you have a company like Manga Rock, who is owned by a larger company, who is charging people, having ads on their pages and stuff, I feel like that's when you cross a line. But at the same time, it's like without scans, there's so like I actually have. So there's this like group of people who do fan, like they'll scan the books and translate it themselves, and then there's a website called Blurb, and they don't make any money off of it. They'll make a book version of the manga, and they'll put a link up, and you can buy it. It's like $4. The paper's
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So there's a handful of series that I have that like Ichi the Killer, for instance. I was just like browsing through that a couple weeks ago. Homunculus, Frisia. The World Is Mine, like those are some, like if I made a top 25, all those are on there, but they'll never be out in English. So without scans, we wouldn't have that. And then there's series that are like also from a standpoint of like preserving history. I think it's important too, because there's probably hundreds of manga series that are just gone.
Absolutely,
they're just lost.
I think the thing I agreed, and I felt sympathy for the people that because a lot of people didn't know that Manga Rock was dodgy. Like when I first started, I was so new to everything. At first, when I didn't know that I thought Manga Rock looked legit as shit. Like I was like, it's a great looking website and everything like that, and you're not to know that any advertising revenue or whatever is not going to it. I think the people that were really bummed when Manga Rock was closing down is a lot of them were paying like their kind of premium thing, and they didn't know. And they were just like, oh, and then all of a sudden that's taken away from them. They don't know what's going on. And I get that. The preservation thing, I think it's absolutely key, and it needs to be happen. I think it's a shame, like a site like Manga Rock has to be the one in charge, like that's left to that, in a sense. I do hope that a lot of that stuff doesn't go missing when Manga Rock does close down. I'd love to hope that some archival company, some whatever it was, can kind of like take that and like store it or something like that. But absolutely, and you'd be naive to think that scans didn't popularize it over in the West as well. I think now that we live in an age where everything's a lot more accessible, it's less of an excuse, but it definitely was key to having manga popular over here. Probably without scans, you don't have it as popular as it is today, and it's not even that popular per se. So it absolutely was key.
Do you want to talk about digital versus physical? Because I've seen a lot of people trying to.
I made a video about it recently about it. So what was your standpoint on it?
I don't like digital stuff like at all. Like just anything. I get why people do it. Spaces, I definitely am running out of room with my 6 bookshelves or whatever. Just fucking, and then I have anime box sets to the ceiling. So I'm running out of space. But at the same time, I don't like the idea that I'm renting a license to something, because a lot of these, digital stuff is you don't own it. You know what I mean? And
it's DRM, right? That's the thing.
And I don't like that idea. I like, I can grab a book and I can have this forever as long as I take good care of it. It should hold up with time. But
I think the issue that I would say is I don't have a problem with that issue if it's, say, something like Viz, for example. It's $1.99 for a year. Whatever that is what 25, 26, whatever it is. So I don't feel like I've lost anything. It's when you're buying, if you go in like Comixology or something like that. Don't get me wrong, it's a big site. I don't think there's any worry about it going anywhere, but there's always a possibility. I think when you're buying manga digitally, it's different. If you're like renting it, say in Viz, it's so low in terms of how much it costs. I don't think it even qualifies the same. Like, I wouldn't be worried if that went away. I'd be like, what? I can't pay $1.99 anymore. Now I can go buy it. But yeah, I think I definitely do think it's where the future's heading. There'll always be a physical thing. I think there's no doubt that people prefer reading physically. I do. But I definitely have recently seen the benefits of it. I mean, like when we were on holiday, I took a shoebox full of manga on holiday with us. And in the end of it, we needed to use the iPad because I finally got my wife to read manga for the first time, and she ended up reading 9 volumes of Promised Neverland. So,
Oh wow, that's a good
so
first
I was
manga.
like, that's got to be the one. You know, I've got to hook you in. You know, like got the it's like cliffhanger central, isn't it? So
What
it's
was
like
your hobby before manga?
it still is my main hobby. Still is soccer, man. Well, that and retro video games. Like I used to have a collection of nearly 1,000 video games. Like even still, like right next week, I'm actually selling stuff. Like I've got like Streets of Rage 3. That's like $100.
Wow.
I've got like Japanese retro games. Like I've got like
speaking of retro games, dude. This company, I don't want to throw an ad sponsor into this, but this company called Immortal Gems takes games from the Super Nintendo era that never came out here in America, and they get the cartridge, they get a fan translation, and it'll work in a Super Nintendo.
that's amazing. Well, that's the thing. Like I've got it's got a Retron 5.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're fantastic. Like even here, like I've got like that's a Pocket Monsters Red sealed from Japan. You know, like that was
before all this, you were into video games.
I still am, man. Like retro gaming, like
Hell
the same
yeah.
thing for me is like my thing. Like it's my thing, and soccer as well. I say it's soccer just because I know your crowd's mainly American, but like
Football.
I mean, yeah, it's football, but yeah, like I'd like a season ticket. I'd be in the stands every weekend. I watch it. I scream at my TV. Yes, on Saturday I was screaming at the TV. Like absolutely, like it's my love. I grew up. My dad used to be a professional player as well, and
really,
like, yeah, like so. I just
your dad played professionally.
Yeah, well, in Scotland, he played in the Scottish leagues up there as well as a goalkeeper, and then he broke his elbow and had to. He had I don't know how big your knowledge is, but like a big club called Celtic came in for him and everything, and then eventually, if you're a Celtic goalkeeper, chances are you're going to end up as a Scotland national keeper as well. But then obviously he met my mum after he broke his elbow and stuff and came down. But then yeah, like I had trials at a club when I was younger as well. Fulham didn't work out. But yeah, I mean, like, for me, it would still always be my love. But
1,000 video games is nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah, well, I downsized a lot of it. I mean, I'm probably down to about 200 now, just because I realized that I had so much money sat on my shelves. We were buying this place, and then the post office fucking hated me. Like every day, I'm coming in just like, and the woman's like, "Oh, we're closing soon, motherfucker." And I'm bringing all this stuff in. But man, eBay made a fortune out of me as well from those fees as well. But I mean, I was getting thousands and thousands and thousands, and like we would go on holidays, and like now we bought the place as well. So it was huge. Like my whole office, I built my computer, everything like that. My manga collection, like I still haven't paid a single penny from it, from any kind of money out of my own pocket other than that.
Honestly, I'm thinking about like there's parts of me that like I love my manga and anime collection, but there's parts of me that are just like I should just sell it and just pocket that money because we are in the process of getting a house, and that is a long and arduous fucking process.
It's a test of character, believe me. We had they say it was more stressful than getting married, or is it more than stressful than anything we've done before. But what I would say is hold on to the things that at least are dear to you. I mean, there are games that I will never sell, whether I play them or not. Just because I know that it will just bother me if I don't have them. I don't know whether that's some like weird ass OCD thing, but there are things like, imagine a series like that you just can't get anymore, or like a series like I mean, like I can see you've got the singles of 20th Century Boys, and I know you've gone back and forth with those a load, but like over here, like volume 17 is like £150. Like volume 19 is about £60, and stuff like that. You just like, if I sold that now, I know I'm not going to buy that back because of the cost, so I'll never have it again, so I have to make that. I think in life the best thing to do is have a small really thing that's dear to you, like a special thing. Like for you, it'd be like Berserk and stuff like that, you know, Blade of the Immortal and stuff like that. Those things that you will hold on to. But then if there's something like for me, I'm already looking at stuff like Deadman Wonderland, that can get fucked. You know, there are series that I just think that like I already know I'm looking at things that I'm like, I'm not gonna read that again. You know, like there are certain things like Biomega that I'll probably sell that.
Oh, I
Tokyo
love
Ghoul,
Biomega.
you know, like I'm not a fan, like it's okay. One Punch Man, the art's great, you know, but there's certain things where I'm like, I know for me, like Monster, Vinland Saga, those are the ones that will get kept around, you know, like the Junji Ito stuff. But then there's just certain things you just know that like I liked it, but is it worth
I
keeping?
sold. I mean, I did the same thing you did, except with manga. I sold like 1,500 volumes of manga at one point, and I sold all of like Blue Exorcist, Black Butler, D Gray Man, like series that like I read and then got like super into, and then just was like
There's certain things that like you will watch. I like it that like a TV show, for example. There are certain shows that you will absolutely love, but you'll never watch it again. Then there'll be a show like Lost or Game of Thrones or something like that, and you're like, I will watch that again. You know, and you just that's how I feel about manga already. Like I know for a fact Monster will be reread once I finish Vinland Saga. I know I'll read that again. But there are series that you will read and you will go, I won't probably read that again. And I just think, is it worth holding on to that? I mean, we don't need to worry about preservation because there's so much manga out there anyway.
yeah.
And it depends if you want to pass it down. That's a different story. Or if you've got a way for like storage, for example, then there's a different story. Then you can just throw that shit away in storage.
Like I sold a bunch of stuff, and a lot of it some of it I regret. Like I regret a lot of the stuff. So I've been like keeping an eye out on deals. This month I came across probably the best deal of a lifetime. There's this older guy named Kevin who I'm friends with on Facebook, and he is just now getting into manga. He's like in his 50s, I believe. He's been a fan of anime for a couple years, and now he's just getting into manga. And he'll message me and be like, "Hey, is this a good deal?" Or he knows I'm like looking for certain things, so he messaged me, and there was a dude 5 hours away selling No Longer Human, 1 through 3, Old Boy, which are both series I had and loved. But when I was selling stuff, I was like, that shelf right there with Berserk and all that, I'm like, that's not going anywhere. Like for sure, 100% that's not going anywhere. So I sold a bunch of other stuff that I regretted like instantly. And one of them was No Longer Human and Old Boy. So I messaged this dude on Facebook. I'm like, hey man, my friend Kevin said you're selling, some stuff, and he showed me his entire anime collection and his manga collection, and I was like, all right. He had the Gantz anime, which I've never seen the Gantz anime. I fucking love the manga. I've never seen the anime. I was like, how much for the Gantz box sets, which I think number 2 was sealed when it came. No Longer Human 1 through 3 and Old Boy complete. It was $40.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, can you ship? Well, it ended up being 50 because he wouldn't. He wanted me to drive to meet him. But I was like, I can't. I don't have the time to drive 5 hours one way, and then another 5 on the way back.
Yeah.
So, but No Longer Human is like complete, like $250.
I was just gonna say, I was just because I know that, but I was just googling it again just to make sure that I wasn't going mad. Yeah, I mean that's you almost feel like you want to say like you are aware of what that is, right? But then at the same time you don't want to scare the deal off.
So I didn't want to do that, but I was feeling him out, so I was like asking him for prices on like certain anime because I was like, oh shit, he just sold me all this stuff for literally pocket change compared to how much it's worth. So I'm like, how much is this anime box set? And he knew the prices of certain animes. Like he was like, I'm aware that that's $130. He did tell me I'm not really 100% sure on prices, but I'm selling this stuff on Facebook before I go to like eBay. And to his discredit, he did not wrap anything when he shipped it, but they came perfectly fine. So
I mean, that's the thing I've never understood. Like, even if you can't wrap things, put some toilet paper in there or something, man. Like, I don't understand people that can't like,
But they're in better shape. My first set of No Longer Human, they were yellowed on the top. These look brand new, and now I got those again, and I'm really excited because Junji Ito's version's coming out, and I'm gonna do a side by side comparison.
Oh
Uh,
man, I've never read the original, but I've heard that it's incredible, and anything that Junji touches seems to be
it's
incredible.
so there, it's based off of, I believe, the best-selling novel in Japan. Like I think
Oh
that
right.
yeah, I think that is the best-selling novel. But the one that Vertical put out, the one that's like out of print, it's got a cool twist. The mangaka who actually did the manga, he's in the story, and it like opens up, and this mangaka is trying to find inspiration for his new manga, and he stumbles across a blog where it details the fall of this guy, which is based off the novel. But the novel was written in like the 40s or the 50s, so like all of the stuff had to be like modernized. And he does a really good job. It's a really good story. It's one of those things. I don't think I'm. It's like, it's kind of like Goodnight Poon Poon. I don't think I will go back to it until Ito's is out, because it does kind of make you feel like really empty at certain
Yeah,
points.
and those are the good stories, man. The ones that kind of they leave something with you, that you'll just think about even in a couple of years. It's like when someone will say something and it just sticks with you. I think there's certain stories in life where something will just that there'll just be something there. I can't say that I've had that yet with manga. There's nothing that like
Wait until the Golden Age arc.
yeah, well I've got the second book now.
Dude, just that.
So
So like, when I got into Berserk, everyone, of course, there's so much hype around that, and everyone's like, Golden Age arc, Golden Age arc. And the first volume of Berserk, it does suck. Like the very first volume, it's kind of boring, and it's all over the place. It starts off with like a rape scene. He's like raping a demon. You know what I mean? Like, just like, I was like, ugh, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But the characterization in the Golden Age arc is phenomenal. It's just
yeah, I haven't started book two yet, but I mean, I remember I've read volume one. I was like, this shit might be a grind, But then it just because I thought the art wasn't all that great at first, but then something just happened and it clicked. And I think the reason why it's so good is it doesn't feel normal at all. Like there's something off about the series. There's something not okay about it. Like it just seems like I don't know. It feels like a different universe. It doesn't feel like the same one that you're living in. It feels I don't know. There's something wrong about it, and that's what I like about it. And the fact that Guts isn't the protagonist of every other series. Like he's an arsehole. He's cold. No matter what you think, oh, maybe now he's going to be nice. No, he's still going to be a dickhead after it. And I think that's refreshing. You need that sort of thing, and it doesn't play on normal. I can only say I'm only 3 volumes in, but it doesn't feel tropey at all. Maybe it does become that, but it doesn't feel like that. I mean. And as I said in my review, like everything looks like it's out of Doom. Like the monsters. I mean, Jesus Christ! Like these things just look so good.
and they get worse. I mean, like, what the eclipse is, right? Like, all about that. Like, or are you just blind? You're just going in blind.
I'm going absolutely blind.
I am not gonna say another word. We should stop talking about this, because I will spoil shit for you if I continue.
It'll be hard. I understand. Yeah.
I just it's the one series, like you said, like a small collection. I keep going back to that shelf, honestly. Like Gantz, Berserk, Lone Wolf and Cub, Blade the Immortal. I've actually been reading a lot of, that whole Twitter controversy with shoujo that happened a while ago. I've been reading like Yono the Dawn and Requiem of the Rose King, which Shay Geeks Out told me to pick up, and I fucking love it. It's 2 Shakespeare plays in a manga. Like,
oh wow,
it's really good.
I've literally just bought my first shoujos. Well, actually, one's technically a josei and the other one's a shoujo, and I haven't read them yet. But I'm really kind of excited to get into it because I don't know. Like for me, it was a matter of time I got around to it. Like I was like, there's still all this incredible stuff like Berserk. Like I've still got to be a boy. Like let me get all that stuff. Like you can't help but if your main love is a certain thing, you can't be held accountable for. Why haven't you tried this? Why haven't you tried that? You got to give yourself a chance to get around to it, especially if you're new. But it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm excited to get around to it and see that kind of that aspect of manga yet, because it might actually be something that you end up. I know I will already like it better than Dead Man Wonderland. So like,
Dude,
so
that's one of the series where like I read the first couple volumes and I was like, no, like I owned it all and I sold it. And then believe it was Brian who was like, "That's a really good series. You should read it." And I was like,
Premise is good. Premise is good. Just didn't. The characters I felt nothing for. Um, I was just like, yeah, like this is not for me, and it's a shame. But there are, you will get series like that, like Platinum End. I want to give another chance, but it's still so much to read. Like I haven't even started 20th Century Boys yet. I've got the first three, kind of new editions. I've got some of Pluto, some of Master Keaton.
"Oh, dude, I love Pluto. That's my like. I've been on the record of saying that I think Tezuka is overrated, and I think people get a little too upset. They're like, overrated means you hate them. Like, no, I love the guy. I love his work, and I think Astro Boy is phenomenal. And because I grew up watching the old Astro Boy cartoons, so reading Pluto with Urasawa's like attention to detail in that world was such a like, it's like a wet dream come true. You know what I mean? Like kind of like the Final Fantasy VII remake is like a thing that I never thought was going to happen. It's happening.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite Urasawa work. People get upset about that, but you can't go wrong with his any of his work.
Well, the thing is with Urasawa as well is I love his art style. It's very particular. As soon as you see a face, you know that's Urasawa. Like there's just something special about it. The kind of as you said, the attention to detail and like you feel everything feels real. Yeah, I can only see things I've never read or seen anything Tezuka done or anything like that. So I don't know whether it's something that you really should know before going into something like Pluto to really get the Easter eggs.
No, I mean you because the stuff. I mean there are Easter eggs and they pay off if you know, but you can enjoy that story start to finish. Like Base Senpai said he liked it and he didn't know any of the Easter eggs in there. So Base is really fucking cool, by the way.
Yeah, no, well, Base he's easily one of my favorite people.
Did you watch that podcast?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was a long ass podcast
4
as well.
hours.
Yeah,
It was,
Base
was like how he when it was like last second. I was like, dude, do you want to hop on? Because Mike and Jin backed out, and he was like, how long? I was like, maybe an hour, maybe 2 at the most. And he was like, okay,
double it in a bit.
4 hours, and Base was awesome.
Base is I think he's brilliant. His knowledge is unbelievable. His sense of humor is very wicked, and
I love it.
And a lot of people don't understand it as well. Like because he's in my Discord, and he's actually one of the mods in my Discord, and he people like he will talk to people, and people will like think he's being like confrontational or direct or whatever. And they don't understand it at all. And like, I mean, I'm not going to speak like I know Base Empire very, very well, but like I absolutely think that people like that are key to the community. Like they've got a great knowledge. I've learned so much from him. And there's been a few times where he's burnt me. He said, like he's put me in my place. It's the same. But you need those people. Like Simply G's another one. Like you need those people in your community to like. Correct you when you're wrong and and stuff like that and teach you stuff and I think
Base was just making fun of me. He was like, because I like mecha and kaiju stuff, and he's like, that shit's stupid. And then today in the middle of the rush my phone vibrates and I look and it's Base and he goes, hey, I'm watching Godzilla, and just reminds me how much kaiju sucks.
I saw
dude, Base is awesome. Geekstone is also one of the newer guys that's just.
Do you know what I literally only discovered him a couple of days ago.
I love him.
And so nice. I haven't had any correspondence with the dude yet, but he seems really cool. I've been watching a few of the things on his channel. I just subscribed to him and followed him on Twitter the other day. And yeah, he seems really nice.
He's unbelievably nice. Like unbelievably.
He just seems like a really cool dude, like has just I watched he did a stream the other day. He's just having a beer and just talking, and I think it's nice that there's still kind of people that you could still discover now, because otherwise it feels like you kind of know everyone and you feel like that's it, and it's not the case. There's just so many people out there.
Someone I like is Mr. Sushi. He was on that stream with Base and Geekzone. He's someone that like I follow him. All he posts is soccer and politics, and I agree mostly with his politics. So like when he's shit talking people like politicians on Twitter, I get such a chuckle out of it. But Chris has got which is Mr. Sushi, he's got such a knowledge of manga as well, and he needs to make more videos. Like he has like 3 on his YouTube channel.
I feel like he looks like John Jones's little brother. He looks like him a little bit. Do you not think?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a real cool dude. I would like to see him make more videos. It's the same with a lot of people. One of my favorite manga tubers at the moment is probably Manga Hunter as well. Like I really like him.
Dude, I told him to make videos. I was
Yeah,
like, Sam, make videos. I'm friends with him on Facebook as well, and he is like such a handsome dude. Like got his shit together, and then his name on Discord is like Kush Hunter or something like that. And I'm like, you do not.
The thing is about him, like he's a really good-looking dude. He's got his life together. It seems, you know, like I think he's engaged.
Yeah,
you know, he's really knowledgeable. He's got a good voice, good quality. He's doing things right on YouTube. I think he's gone past 300 subscribers as well. He's a really nice guy. And yeah, I mean, I think we've gone back and forth in DMs on Instagram a couple of times, and he's a really nice guy. And he's someone that I wish made more videos as well. I think there's just a lot of people that I'm just like, make more videos. It's the same with Zach as well. Zach, I still think to this day is like the most underrated person.
Yeah.
And like, I don't just say it because he's my friend, but like, I just feel like there's so many people like make more videos, you know, like
I watch everyone, but nobody makes me laugh like Zach. Like Zach is so funny.
Yeah, he is. It's his sense of humor as well. And like, but there's just so many incredible people out there that are doing it at the moment.
People don't know that Zach wrote for Crunchyroll. Like Zach is like Zach's the shit.
Zach and when does this go out?
This will probably be up. I mean, do we need to push it back?
Well, I was gonna say something that's really quite like exciting, but I mean we can.
No,
it's up. Fuck it. Like,
just go ahead and say it.
All right. So Zach's kind of working with me on something that's gonna be. I'd like to think it's going to be huge, but essentially, I've got a manga coming out, and with a full-on blown artist, everything like that. We've got everything done. The designs are insane. I mean, this thing looks legit. I mean, Zach's doing the cover for me. We're going to be releasing it in a really cool way. We're going to be co-releasing it through YouTube, so it's going to be like the first kind of chapterly. Like monthly chapter release through YouTube, where and there'll be like a trailer for it. Part of it will be released with like the panels will be shown like dramatic music, ambient sound effects, everything like that. And it's a dark seinen story, psychological thriller. I mean, imagine Monster meets Cluedo meets conspiracies on roids. And the artwork is absolutely incredible.
Writing it?
I've written it. The whole thing's written. I've got an artist that's done it all. I will actually show you a brief.
You're like the last mangaka we interviewed, minus all the N-words he posts on Facebook.
I mean, I don't know how much you'll see, but this is just a little bit of the art. Hold on, let me get my screen up just so I can see what I'm actually showing you.
Holy shit!
So that's one of the screens, and you can see all the blood there and everything like that.
What's it called? Do you have a name?
We do have a name.
Do you want to drop it here?
It's called Revival Project Una. So essentially, I'll give you a synopsis of the story. I will be making a full-on trailer and video about this in full detail. But essentially, this is a story about a couple in Japan. They lose their daughter, and in a horrific accident. And essentially, what happens is they go through the grieving process really badly. They become quite separated through it. But the husband, who's called Jin, he attempts to try and bring her consciousness back through a software program that he has working for like a military-based intelligence program. But what comes through isn't what he expected. Man,
that sounds fucking awesome.
And we don't know who it's coming through. And then there's the human aspect of it, the conspiracy, and a lot of shit goes by and people die. So yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to be releasing the first chapter, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Actually, the first chapter's all done. I'm just waiting on Zach to finish up the cover design.
That's so exciting.
So it's going to be a digital release that you can read on online. But we'll also be releasing video versions of it on YouTube, if that makes sense.
And then you guys could do blurb. You guys could download the program and set it up and have people buy copies.
Well, we'll see. I mean, at the moment, we want to gauge how well it's going to be done because no one, as far as I'm aware, nobody's released anything like via a YouTube platform like this before.
No.
And luckily, I mean, we started doing this when I only had 300 subscribers.
So this has been in the kitchen for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I've got vlogs going back like 3 or 4 months where I'm like talking about like I'm working on it in the background, and it was funny, like no one picked up on it.
Just like the whole cereal thing.
Yeah, just like the whole cereal thing.
So what's going on with that?
So yeah, we pushed things back because obviously we're both getting married, but yeah, we're going to be recording. I want to say next week.
I can't believe you have a fucking manga coming out. I'm sorry. I'm just like, that is so cool, dude. But
this is the thing.
I'm
like,
so happy for you. That's amazing. And the story sounds cool as fuck.
I mean, this thing is like, I mean, I put it this way, I ran it past my wife, and she's watched like the whole anime of Monster and stuff like that as well, and so she gets the kind of Urasawa influence, like conspiracy thing, and the thriller aspect of it, and she's not really into manga at all, and she read through the storyboard and she was sort of like, I would love this. So I was like, well, if she would, and she's not really into that sort of thing. And I would like to think that doing it on a platform like this, now I'm in a position where, like, it would have been cool to release it back when, we started. But now that, we've waited a while, I've got more subscribers now. We've had more time with the art, and I've made more friends. And I'm hoping that not only is this something that, like, I'll just release a manga tube, but hopefully other people will, maybe do reviews of it online. And
I will do chapter reviews of your manga. It'll be the only awesome manga I do that for.
Yeah, and it'd be awesome because it's just like this was the thing. Like when I started MangaTube, well, even before I started MangaTube, like there were certain things that I saw that I wanted to do, and I thought these people like. At first, I thought it was just all haul and collection videos, and for the most part, that is still true. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I can't stand those, man. Like I just don't. I understand them and I do them myself, but I feel like I love the creativity and personality. That's what I shine. Like, that's why the people that I watch consistently is because they have something extra, and there were so many like creative ideas, and that's why I liked Brian so much as well. Like Brian had a little something different. He was trying to be creative and he was being a showman. And there were certain things that I liked, and I thought there's so many ideas that I went to do, and I remember thinking, why has nobody released a manga through this and tried to do it cool? That's especially smart. Like there's so many bigger huge manga tubers that could do this. I mean, and I was lucky. I just put a tweet out one day, and again, I guess it's just because I was working on the social media stuff so hard, but I just put a tweet out saying that I'd written this story about 2 years ago, prior to even reading manga or anything like that, and I said, man, I would love to like get this out sometime. And then an artist got in touch with me and said, here's my work, should we do something? And it's mutually beneficial for us because a lot of independent manga artists, they don't get the exposure because they just have to upload them to these sites and just hope that people find them, but not a lot of them will work the whole YouTube thing. And with my audience, hopefully it can give exposure and give them a leap, so hopefully they'll get some like really good work in the future. Maybe we'll work together again, but it's one of those things where it's just like it's a perfect storm. I really, really hope it works out, and it's hard to know because when you put out a video that's not a manga haul or a collection, you never really know what you're going to get back when you put something out there. And so this is one of those things, so expect a really clickbaity title soon about how I made a manga, and hopefully you click on it and then actually like it. So,
Dude, congratulations, man. That's fucking awesome. And thank you for the world exclusive.
World premiere. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things where like, it's been really, really hard kind of like keeping it a secret. A few people know. So like Zach obviously knows, Hannah and Callum know, and they've seen a few panels and stuff like that. And, like Zach was like, let me have the cover, let me do the cover. I'm like, the cover is yours, man. Like that dude. If you, I'll plug in Zach a million times tonight, but like if you guys will know.
No, Zach is the most talented dude on MangaTube, probably.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's just it's a bit nervous, especially I think for me because I had never done I barely read manga myself, let alone make one. So it's kind of swimming before you can even like.
Man, you guys are inspiring me, dude. I've I've been wanting to do like a magazine for a while, like an old fashioned punk zine, you know, like back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
do it focused on manga and anime and games. And I think I might just fucking do it since you guys are doing all this crazy
I
shit.
mean, the thing is there's nothing to lose. I mean, you know, I find with YouTube especially is it is like throwing shit at a wall and hoping that something sticks, right? And
Mhm.
I find like that's the same with like any kind of like series of videos that you put out or anything like that. And you know, some things work out, some don't.
Did you
You
get
just have to try 'em.
monetized yet on YouTube?
I'm about to be hopefully because I hit the 1,000 subscriber mark before I hit the watch time thing. The watch time I mean it's pending review at the moment, but it's because I stopped my podcast because my podcast was racking up loads of watch time, and then I stopped it, and then the watch time started because I think you need like 4,000 hours worth of watch time, and I got really close to it, and then I stopped doing the podcast. So like now you're more reliant on the views because if I'm putting out like 5 or 6 minute videos, you know, you would need like 500 views of those per video rather than if I had like just 100 views of my podcast that lasted an hour and a half, you know. So like, you know, like I think some of the better podcasts, like I did one with Simply G, I did one with you, CJ, like those got loads of watch time. It's because people actually stuck with it and they got decent views, so that they will do better. Like some of those videos did better than like a manga haul will do, because a manga haul might be someone might just skip through the books quickly, like I'll just tap the screen, skip through to see the books, and then they're off. You can have like 2,000 views, but the watch time will not be as good as a podcast as long as the podcast is engaging, you know?
You know, like you said that you hate doing haul videos. I still like doing hauls because I think, like I mentioned this, like I think my taste is a little more eclectic than a lot of people. Like
If you've got something different, I think if you're, and like me, if your collection is just Viz Media stuff, I don't need to watch the whole, I know what's coming out. So
like
if you're,
I got this manga called Arm of Cannon. It's a Tokyo Pop out of print. And it's like based off like Buddhist mythology, but it's like super bloody and violent. And like I've read the first 5 volumes. So when I do my haul video, I'm gonna do like a mini review.
That's the thing, you need to have that. Like there are very few hauls that
Simply
I
G
will
does
watch.
that. She puts
Simply
out like
G,
a 15-hour video.
yeah, and that's the
it's
thing,
so
and she'll give you a deep. I mean, I'll watch it in parts if I do watch those videos. But I mean, like the people that I watch the whole videos, I think like Based is another good example because he'll actually talk about the stuff. I mean, for me, I just feel like, say if it's like someone is just putting a whole video out every month and it's just the latest Viz stuff, I'm like, I know it's coming out, I don't need to see it, and unless you're giving me a review of it, you know, I just don't. It's just like, look what I spent money on. Look what I spent money on. And for me, I just feel like when there's people being really creative with videos out there, like that's the kind of videos that I just feel like I feel like it's a shame they get buried. I say hate. I don't hate them. I do them myself, and I know that, you know.
I think like, you know, like for you, like you come into manga, those videos are really important to like educate you on what is like what everyone's picking up. Because like if you watch like 5 haul videos, everyone's picking up My Hero Academia, you know, Black Clover, whatever, like Berserk, or like you know, like one random seinen. And then once you're in the scene and you amass a fuck ton of books, you're like, I already know what's out. Like I know what
You're looking for the
haiku
weird
is.
stuff, right?
Yeah, like I want to like for instance, Arm of Cannon. I had no fucking idea what that was. Only reason why I found that is because I searched on eBay for something else, and that was like a suggested listing, and I was like, what is this? And then I looked at the art, and I was like, this looks like something I would like, and it was a blind buy. And then, you know, on YouTube, can't find a video on Arm of Cannon really. I also picked up Velveteen and Mandala, which is a vertical. It's weird. There's some scat rape in that. Lichy Light Club as well. Another really bizarre series. But yeah, like once you do these haul videos for so long, you get so used to just One Punch Man.
Oh, here's the latest. Yeah, here's the new Promised Neverland volume. You know, like I get it, and don't get me wrong. Like I understand that there's a lot of people like them, and I did like them for a little while. I don't know. Like for personally, like I find them a little bit boring. I love seeing a personality coming through. You know, like in creativity, I like seeing someone try something. Because the thing is I don't know. It sounds bad, but I always just think like, if you base as you know, if you base a whole YouTube channel after just doing hauls, you're gonna get the subs, you're gonna get the views. It's very easy. Um, but I'll always say that if you had, say, you had 1,000 subscribers and all you did was haul videos, if someone has 300 video subscribers and they do just creative try stuff, I value that almost more in a way, because those people have like they've tapped into something, they've worked at something, and they've got you something without having to do those kind of manga tube tropes, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, it's the way to start. I did it myself. I started, my first video was a haul, and then it was a collection, and then whatever. Get yourself through the door. But I think, like you said, I think once you're a little bit more versed, you see things a little bit differently, I guess.
Like I think just now for me and my channel, I've hit a stride that I think I'm going to continue doing, where like I have like the whole thumbnail thing down, where like I have my impressions thumbnail is going to be unified to one thing, my review thumbnail is going to be unified to one thing, and then like the last month and a half I've just hit like, I mean, like obviously like the whole videos get good good views, but like I've done like I did that Shonen tier jump, or that Shonen tier video
List. Yeah.
That's got the most downvotes I've ever gotten in a video.
It's a good thing, though. Good thing people care.
It's a good
You want to be Nickelback, man. I'm telling you, because people give a shit. And I love Nickelback, but what I'm saying is like, put it this way, I would rather have, like, I've got a video that's got like 70 thumbs up and it's got like nearly 50 votes down. There's the piracy one, obviously.
Yeah.
But at least people are clicking it and they're commenting, and if they're talking shit, it means they care. It's better than no one clicking your video,
once
right?
you get monetized, that's cash in your pocket.
Exactly. There was a guy that came, I remember he commented on my thing, goes, I came here after so and so talk shit about you, blah blah blah, and they just continue to talk shit, and they were like loving the like ratio, and I was like, oh, they're still in the positive, and thanks for the view, man, appreciate that. Like you just got look at it that way.
Talking about negative into a positive, like that whole old shaman thing, that whole ordeal, which is the last time we spoke.
That's right, yeah.
That I got like 100 subs out of that. I did get like bombarded, like a couple of my videos got like downvotes, but like I hit 2,000 subs, and then like ever since then it's been nothing but net positive. Like,
well, the thing is as well is like I used to worry about like the whole like downvotes and stuff like that, but then I know it might sound a bit like privileged, but after a while, once you get to a point where people are watching your videos, like a couple of dislikes doesn't make a difference anymore. You accept that. Even the most brilliant videos, like Casey Neistat, gets downvotes, So after a while, you have to just think that, like, who really cares? There are just arseholes out there. A lot of it's jealousy. And they're always the ones that will never comment and say why they don't like the video, except for the piracy one. People made that very, very fucking clear. But that was fine. That was a conversational video. But, like, if you just put out, like, just a wrap-ups video or something like that, and someone's down liking it, you're never going to know why it is. It's probably just someone salty for no reason, or jealousy or something like that. But it's always a good thing that people are even engaging in the first place, I always think.
Yeah, I mean, hands down. But this is like, this last month and a half has just been massive for my channel, at least. Like 2.1 thousand subscribers.
Crazy.
And I think like I hit like, we went on vacation, and I filmed that entire anime collection video, and I was like halfway through, I got to the point where like my mouth was dry from just talking about anime for over like an hour, and then so I was like wrapping it up, but like I try to be as in detail, like as in depth as possible. But after that, I did a bunch. I'm like reading more manga now than ever, and I feel inspired to read more manga, and I don't know if it's because like I never thought this was going to lead anywhere, but like this could potentially go somewhere.
That's the thing. It works hand in hand, right? I mean, when you start seeing something else, like if you have a YouTube channel about manga and you read manga at the same time, they definitely kind of bounce off each other a little bit. And like when I started reading manga and started YouTube within the same couple of weeks, and it's hard to know that had I started the YouTube and got the positive reinforcement from people, whether I would have got into it as much as I did. It might have been something that I liked but didn't get as invested in. So when you start seeing something grow and grow and grow, you're like, even on days where you might not be motivated, you're like, I probably should, like fuck it, let's just do it. And then it kind of gets you through it, and it's a beautiful thing, though. I think you and I have been lucky that, we've had, a quick growth and stuff like that, and it kind of helps your motivation.
You shot up faster than anyone in the scene. 1,000 subs in like what, 4 months?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was a part of. I don't know whether it was just luck at the fact that I didn't know anything, so I couldn't. Because I remember when I first came into watching manga videos, I saw that there was a bit of elitism here and there and stuff like that. But if you come in not knowing anything, you can't be a dick about stuff because you can't talk shit because you've got nothing to stand on, and you're learning off other people as well. So, yeah, I just tried to come at it from like a different perspective and just try and sponge off people. And, couple of things.
This right here is the original goal for the channel. Like, this is what I wanted to do, is talk to friends, and interview, like, when I get a chance, industry people.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the original goal, and I was telling Mike and Jen today, because I think they're a little upset because the Robert Moorhead interview was supposed to be on the DACcast, but because of, he literally messaged me last second on a Tuesday and was like, hey, I can do a podcast. And I was like, shit. I like literally dropped out of the podcast I was doing with someone else, which I started writing for a website. So I've been doing stuff like that on the side, but then I got an interview with Justin Savakis, who does all the discotheque discs tomorrow, and I'm super excited about that because Discotheque's my favorite anime company. But if this continues the way it's going, I might actually just transition my channel into strictly podcasts.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I loved podcasting, and it was one of the things that I absolutely loved the most. I eventually felt a little bit of pressure because I was trying to do it weekly, and then I'd get to a point where I felt a bit of anxiety, like I've got to get someone, and I didn't want to just start having people on for the sake of it because I want people to enjoy it. So I just stopped doing it. But there's nothing better than kind of having a real conversation. And when you find your thing, I believe this is a good thing. I think you're a natural at doing this. I think that once you find your kind of calling on YouTube, I think you definitely have to go with that. I also think if you want to grow in the whole manga tube thing, you have to be very honest with yourself and realize that you can't just stay in this niche, because the biggest manga tubers out there, let's just say, I don't know, Insidious Swede, 17k. A lot of those are probably, in honesty, a lot of those are probably old dead subscribers that don't use YouTube and not lot. So you have to think about it like that. So you have to kind of incorporate little things,
and like
whether that means someone
he worked so hard to get that.
Yeah, and it takes a long, long time. I mean, whether you transition into like anime and introduce that, whether like I want to somehow get retro gaming in some time. I mean, that's why I didn't name my channel anything related to, Japanese culture or manga at all. I wanted it to be left in case I wanted to do something with it and not kind of pigeon myself, because I especially knew manga isn't my main love, So for me to make, just to pigeon myself with something like that as I was learning, because I wasn't sure where this journey was going to take me, I can't commit myself to it, which
is a really good name too, Allonsyy. It's fun, it's catchy,
It's the Doctor Who reference. It's like,
is it really? Is it really?
Yeah, it's well, I mean, obviously it's a French word, but it's from Doctor Who because David Tennant used to always say Allonsyy, and then he would like pull the lever or something like that, and it was a running joke.
My wife loves Doctor Who. She doesn't like nerdy stuff, which is really weird. Like, she's never seen Lord of the Rings. She doesn't like, but she loves Doctor Who.
Doctor Who is like outside of pop culture. It's so big and nerdy. And also it's, I think Americans love it because it's something British that they can actually get. It's not, like, because a lot of British stuff just doesn't. It's very work.
Dry. It's very dry.
Yeah,
a lot of the humor.
And I mean, I'm obsessed with it. Like, my cat is called Gallifrey. We named it after the Doctor's home planet. We had shower curtains that were TARDIS doors, and even the windows were see through. The 50th anniversary episode, I had a party. We made Dalek bread. We went to go see viewings as well, where they do it. Like, I'm
so is Doctor Who just massive over there?
It's an institution. It's absolutely huge. It's massive.
I can't think of anything that's like that here in the States.
I mean, put it this way, like over here on Christmas Day, it is the most viewed thing. Like people will stop the Christmas Day and they will watch Doctor Who, and then it's the Doctor Who Christmas special is bigger than it's just as big as the Queen's speech. You know,
Really?
like I know that you guys, because you have so many channels in America, no one's really watching TV on Christmas, but over here, like
usually it's football. Usually it's like American football. Like there's
on Christmas Day.
No, sorry, that's Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have like Boxing Day football and stuff like that, but like with Christmas Day, it's like people will, they'll have their day, then they'll stop, they'll watch Doctor Who, and then they'll pass out. That's the thing.
It is that big.
It's absolutely huge. I mean, Doctor Who is a way of life. I was going to get tattoos of Doctor Who, but then I didn't. But like, I mean, the amount of Doctor Who stuff in my house is crazy. It got to the point where my parents, every Christmas, I was like, I guess I'm getting Doctor Who, but like even right now, like my coaster is a phone box, like I'm obsessed. My keys, I named my cat after it, like I've got a phone box on my thing. Like I tried to have, it's something in my life. I think it's just because Doctor Who over here, it's been going since since TV's had one channel, it's black and white, and it's just never ended. And everyone grew up with a period of time with Doctor Who. When I was growing up, Doctor Who wasn't on the TV anymore, but then it was reintroduced in 2004 when I was around 13 years old, and it came back, and it was a big budget, and it just became my life.
Were we 13 in 2004?
So I was born in 91, so I would have been 13, 14. Yeah.
Holy shit, we're old, dude.
I know. Well, I think for me, the crazy thing is when I look at like a lot of my sports heroes now, I'm older than them or stuff like that. And that freaks me out because, my heroes, I used to look at players like they were these big giant idols, and now I'm older than them, or it's the same with like the big movie stars, you see them and you're like, I'm older than them, and it is a weird way of life. And you start looking at people in the street, like I'll see like college kids and stuff, and I go, oh, we look like the same age. No, we don't. It's the way you think, but it is weird to think about it. Like, I know we both enjoy Power Rangers. Like, Power Rangers is a thing that, a lot of people in current Power Ranger seasons were older than them, and it's kind of crazy. Although saying that, I was, Comic-Con's coming to London, and Tommy's coming. You can and you can meet him and stuff like that.
Did you hear that Hasbro wants to reboot and get rid of that cast That's like
really?
that's like the rumor, and I was like, no, that's such a perfect fucking cast.
Yeah, I think the reboot movies. I thought the reboot of the movie was fantastic.
I think that's gonna be a cult classic down the line.
It should do. I think the original fans responded to it. I didn't see anything negatively about it. It was done right. There was enough kind of like there's a little bit of fan service, a couple of nods to us OG fans, but there was enough new in there for people. And it was the guy from Stranger Things who Billy from Stranger Things, and I thought he was fantastic.
He is like, if I was gay, that is the guy. Like that is
he's got something about him.
He is a beautiful man, and talk about a redemption at the end of Stranger Things.
I know. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I didn't. The first like 4 episodes of that season were a chore for me.
That's
didn't
how I
really
feel about
enjoy
every season of that show.
I liked season 1 a lot. I liked season 2 a fair bit. I know that got a lot of hate, but yeah, I mean, I didn't like the spoiler at the end of season 3 where they basically alluded to someone still being alive. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's just like let that go into season 4, man. Let's find that shit out then. Like, don't. 10 minutes after
Billy scene made me cry. I was like,
yeah, that was, and he was the perfect villain for it. Like, I say villain, I don't see him as a villain, because it wasn't really him acting. If that makes sense.
It was all because Mike's mom wanted to get dick down in the middle of the night.
Can you blame her though? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, he's a beautiful guy, right?
So like my wife views marriage like so seriously that like when that happened, she was like, I fucking hate her. I hate that bitch. And I was like,
some people they relate it to themselves when they watch movies and stuff like that, But yeah, I mean that I really liked it. I mean, I thought the cast was great. The cast is great in that series.
Who's the chubby kid?
I can't remember what his
God,
name is now.
that's gonna bother me. But like, I always relate to him the most out of anyone in that show because I was that kid. I was that chubby kid who was, a little bit too nerdy, and at the end, like when he was like, "I have a girlfriend," and everyone made fun of him, and at the end when she's there, I was like, "Fuck yes, that's my boy."
He's got a good voice as well.
Oh man, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
That kid's talented as fuck.
I mean, do you know what I loved? I loved uh, the older friend that he has? What's his name?
Steve.
Steve, right? The relationship he had with, was it Robin?
Yeah.
I was like, I so want them to get together, and then the fact that it didn't because she wasn't into dudes, I was like, that's perfect. Like, it worked.
That's Uma Thurman's daughter.
Yeah, and she had him.
And Ethan
it was
Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, and
Yeah.
I love Ethan Hawke. God, another guy. But like, and she was fantastic as well.
She was
Like,
amazing.
I was like, the best introduction to it, and the younger black girl as well. I liked her as well. I thought she was hilarious.
She was
as well.
awesome. So sassy.
Yeah, and you know, it kind of felt like this season was like the perfect like mixture between like a kids program and something for adults as well.
Yep.
Like when they're in the base and stuff and they're bickering and stuff like that. I'm like, this is like a kids show, but then there's those darker overtones as well. I'm like, this is perfect, and obviously you got the soundtrack and the aesthetic as well. It's perfect. And
did you watch Dark Crystal?
No,
that's like another show that's like rated for children, and watching it, I'm like, this is way too dark. Like talking about like extermination of an entire race of people. I'm like, this is.
Well, that's
dark.
the thing. I think once you become an adult and you start watching things back, you're like, oh god, like you hear like you see the subtle things. I remember watching because I was a big Pingu fan. I don't know if you guys know what Pingu is over there.
What is that?
Oh, never mind. The reference is dead.
What is Pingu?
Pingu is like, it's an animated penguin. That was like a bit of a cult classic for kids stuff. But then when you watch it growing up, you realize that the dad was aggressively, basically borderline abusive, like, and all this stuff. And you look at it back, it's like Dave Chappelle has the bit of watching Sesame Street after, he's like, the way that they talk to like, the way they teach kids to like judge certain people and like
they're homeless and like living in a trash can.
He's like, bitch, I live in a trash can, but it's true when you watch stuff, as an adult looking back, you're like, oh damn, I didn't notice these like jokes for kids. And I think a lot of it, especially like the Nickelodeon like 2000s era as well, like Keenan and Kel and stuff like that, you notice the jokes for adults that were like hidden in there as well. And I think when you watch them back, you're like, you get a newfound respect for it almost.
Dude, I wish you would have taken me up on my offer. I wanted to send you a wedding gift.
Man, it's too kind.
I sent Brian something and I made him accept it, and he was like, "You motherfucker." And then I think that's when he was like, "Come to my wedding," and I was like, "I can't, dude." I think a series I think you would like is Doro Hedoro.
Well, do you know? Because I just watched. Hannah's just come back from Japan, and she put out this solid 50-minute like feature length vlog. And she went to the Kyoto National Manga Museum, where you can basically read anything. And she said that she read the first volume of Dora Dora, and she said that she was really, really into it. And there's really so many people talking about it, and I believe it's actually getting an anime or something.
I don't know how they're gonna do it, because the manga is so it's so unique, man. It's one of those things where like I don't see other people touching it and it having the same effect. Like,
you'd have to incorporate those people and bring them into the process.
Oh man, and this last volume, look how thick this final volume is.
Dora Dora is weird though, because isn't there really thin volumes as well?
Yeah, it starts off super thin, and then it, like just progressively, like this is 350 pages, and it's $12.99. So like they've kept the same price. I mean, good on you, Viz, because you could have definitely have charged $20 for this. This is a massive book. They all have the nice French flaps,
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. We don't get that a lot of that stuff. A lot of the time, we just get like just the bog standard like gloss release that looks cheap as hell. And it was like when I went to Berlin, and I was looking at all the, because they're not released by Viz over there. It's by
Kaz or whatever.
Yeah, that's it. And you like, oh man, like other countries get it, they get it so good. So when you see like a nice release like that, where there's a bit of attention to detail, you have a little bit more of a love for it.
I really want to learn French just because they have
everything.
Jagan and Kingdom and like literally any manga that you could possibly think of, they have, and it pisses me off. It makes me
And
so
it's
mad.
so much cheaper as well.
Yeah, like $7. I was like, are you fucking serious? So I might
Hmm.
actually learn French because I do want to support Kingdom in some way, but I'm gonna hold out another year. If Kingdom's not out within 2021, I'm gonna be
The thing is, isn't Kingdom such a long series that it's
53 volumes now. You know, and
mm,
it's about a Chinese history. So like, that's probably not gonna sell very well, especially in our political climate. Everyone here
yeah,
hates
but the
China.
thing is, it's crying out for like an exclusive digital release. Then
No,
you know,
I
like
fuck that. No, I would
no,
rather it
but
not be
no,
released.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is from a publisher perspective, you would think, you know, the way that like Amazon got Vinland Saga, you know, like you're thinking if people know their stuff and you know that that's something that will draw people because there's no other option.
Yep.
I'd be like, if I was a publishing company, I'd be like, listen, I'm not going to commit to printing that physically. It's just too much and it's too much of a risk. But digitally, if I got that license, and I would just put that out. That's how I would look at it from a business perspective. And some people would just go, even if they were like you, they'd be like, oh, I've got to read it though. Like they would just have no choice but to do it.
I would buy the volumes to show support,
But
but
if it was only released digitally, like what would you do? I'm assuming you would just cave eventually and read it.
I've already read it. I'm already up to
Oh,
date on the scans.
there you go then. But
I have bought a couple Japanese volumes to show support. I have like a
But that's
figure.
that's the I think that's the issue with the reason why it's not getting brought over because I think they left it too late to the point where most people have gone fuck it and they've just read the scans now. So now
Crazier things have happened though.
true. I think the thing is though is they're probably thinking, oh, because we've left it so late, it's such a long series, and a lot of people have just read the scans. They're not going to, but that's probably on them for not licensing that earlier and getting that out the door because that probably would have sold bucket loads because the art looks really nice.
Oh, the art's beautiful, dude.
Because Shuriken, I don't know if you know who Shuriken is.
Yep.
He put a YouTube video out and shout out for another UK manga tuber. He put out like a bucket list of manga, and he kind of highlighted Kingdom, and I was like, damn, that looks beautiful.
It is beautiful. The fight scenes are just fucking crazy too, and the story of Shin is just one of the best in manga, in my opinion. Like the first like his whole goal is to become the great general of the heavens. And volume 1, the first page shows him like commanding a 10,000 man army, and then you go back to square one, and we haven't seen that since. So like we're building up to that moment, and
Right.
he kind of did a Quentin Tarantino. You know, he showed the ending, and then now he's showing you how to get there.
How you get there, yeah. Let me ask you a question because obviously you're a big anime guy, and I'm still new to it all. I've recently just caught up on, well, I say caught up, relatively caught up to Demon Slayer. Have you been watching that?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things where the manga I hated. It could not. I fucking gave it 5 volumes, sold it off, hated it. Reluctantly watched the anime, and then now I'm a huge fan.
Well, it's probably one of the more stunning anime out at the moment.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
But yeah, I mean, like I before I went on holiday, I hadn't watched a single episode. I caught up everything on holiday, and I've just finished watching episode 19, and this is the one that trended. You know, the big hyped episode. You know, and I don't know how you felt about it, and I enjoyed the episode, but I felt like this was an anime episode that trended. I didn't see anything that was like mind blowing.
I am not caught up. I'm not like my
How
problem.
far into it are you?
Probably 10 episodes.
Oh,
But,
okay. Okay.
like my problem with like seasonal anime is because like I don't watch the anime I consume is usually older stuff, like 90%.
You're not watching it live, yeah.
I'm not watching it live because one, I'll like so like every season I pick 2 shows and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch those live every week regardless. Period. And then work life and gets in the way and I slip and then I'm like I'm gonna wait till I get 10 episodes built up and then binge it. So right now I'm waiting to binge that and Fire Force. Even though Fire Force is like the thing I was most impressed by, I still haven't really watched that many episodes, which I think you should though. Fire Force is.
I watched a few episodes. I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little bit bored. The story and I do need to go back to it. I think I started watching Demon Slayer and I was like, Jesus, this is so good. And then you kind of like I was kind of like I liked Fire Force and then there was the new girl, I was like,
Yeah.
damn, like look at that. And then I started you're watching that, and Demon Slayer's got this kind of like really dark tones that I really liked, and then obviously Vinland Saga as well.
Oh man, Vinland Saga.
You know, and Vinland Saga is like criminally underwatched because of how poor Amazon has promoted it. And I put a poll out on Twitter, and I said, you know, like, do you think that had Amazon not had the rights to that and say it was on Crunchyroll, it would probably be the biggest? And everyone would say yes. And it's just one of those things where like you have to actively search for it on Amazon. Like it's not even like, you know, look at Netflix when like a new special comes out from someone, they put it front and center. You know something's out. Anime's huge, man. Like put Vinland Saga up there. It has a huge fan base. If that was on Crunchyroll, I'm telling you, look at the way that they hyped Doctor Stone, the way that they hyped Fire Force. Imagine you had that with Vinland Saga. Like it would absolutely outdo. I've no doubt it would have been bigger than the two of them.
I think that's the best studio right now is Wit. I mean, they've done Kabanari, Attack on Titan, now Vinland, and then they're doing Girl from the Other Side. They're doing like an OVA for that. I think they're so talented.
I'll never forget the first time when you see Thor's on the boat and the guy charges at him, and just the way that it's like you're running behind the guy. I just remember seeing, I was like, this animation is just ridiculous. Like, don't get me wrong, there are stuff that looks more like clean, like Demon Slayer looks stunning, the colors and everything like that. But there's something about Vinland Saga, you just like the scenery and stuff like that. You look at it and you just go, ah, like, this is real good.
My dad hates anime because he's old, and I had Vinland on at work, and he was like, "What is this? Like, this is cool." Like, he's like, "Vikings are cool. Like, this is the whole setting, and then the animation is just beautiful." Because a lot of anime is poorly animated.
Yeah, but you got to look at it as well. With something like Vinland Saga, you can get the attention because you look at stuff like Game of Thrones, what it's done for like, you know, like fantasy. Historic, fantasy and stuff like that. So it's brought that into the mainstream. So a series like Vinland Saga is just asking to convert the mainstream into anime. And then you've got the stories, like, it's so dark, man. Like when you think about the story of what's happening, I don't want to say too much in case people are watching and haven't seen it, but like, you know, the story that Thorfinn's going through and like the dynamic that he has to kind of live in those circumstances post without not being able to do anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really dark. And also if you're history buff as well, like you would appreciate it. I mean, a lot of it, even though it's set, you know, some of it's set over here, I wouldn't know half that shit, but you're learning it and you're like, oh, they've done their homework and it's true. You know, a lot of it, like where they are, you know, like they haven't just made up places on the map. Like when they're in Bath or like London or whatever, it's like they've really done it right. And like in Wales and stuff like that, you're just like, damn, there's so much here. You just wish that everyone could see it.
And also, it's one of those only times watching a show of a manga that I love where they've added stuff that perfectly works well. Like there's some anime only scenes that I wasn't like, oh fuck, are you serious? But I was like, that was really well done. It fleshed out the characters a little bit more. Again, I'm not completely caught up on Vinland as well. I'm like 3 episodes in. Also, the release schedule is weird. Like they put like 3 out at once, and then they put
are we doing the Netflix thing or not? I mean, now they're back to because they released the first 3, but then they didn't release one for another 2 weeks. So it was like you might as well just release them weekly. But I guess people wanted to binge them. But they confused people because they didn't tell people really what was happening. No one really knew. But the thing is, like Vinland, I imagine, because it was such a beloved series on manga before it was an anime, people were really worried about it, you know. And I think it's one of those really nice examples of when something is done perfectly right so far. I mean, I'm not caught up. I'm probably about 6 episodes in. I'm further in the manga than I am in the story in the anime. But I don't have. There's nothing that I've tried to like, you know, pull a hall monitor thing up and be like, hey, that's wrong, you know, like it's all perfect so far. I'm really enjoying that.
We get volume 11 in 2 months.
Damn, I'm on book 6 at the moment.
Oh man, you gotta binge watch. I mean, you gotta binge read one day.
I know, man, but there's so many things. Like I still want, like I've got Berserk, I've got One Piece to read. I'm
probably gonna be taking a break from manga here soon. Ultraman's coming out on Blu-ray, and I'm gonna be binging that. Like that's, dude. I never like. I'm so like. This is like such a huge thing. Is like, I never thought we would get a lot of Ultraman in the States, you know, officially, because I had like I'm a man of my word. I had a lot of bootlegs of Ultraman. The moment they announced this release lineup, I threw them all away, and Mill Creek bought the rights. They said they were putting out the first 2 in October. I was like, that's probably all we're gonna get, honestly. Ultra Q and Ultraman. Then we're getting Ultra G'd and X in November, Ultra 7 in December, and then by the end of summer next year, we're gonna have 13 out of 17 Ultraman series on Blu-ray.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a commitment as well. Like that's a good sign for if you're a fan of that series.
Fucking hope it happens to Kamen Rider. I hope it happens to Kamen Rider so much because I have the bootlegs to almost every Kamen Rider series and the translations are awful, but I love physical media, so I
that's the thing. Let me ask you a question because I remember me and Brian, we did one of my live streams once, and we just got like on the streams we just have a silly time, but we came up with we started talking with people online about TV series or movie series that you think would work well as a manga series. So I'll give you an example while you think of one. This was, and this one's credit to Brian, and this was a really cool idea. So his one was take the Harry Potter universe, right? And now not Harry Potter, but listen to this. So it's like in a seinen way, the moment that the Muggle world discover and the government finally divulges the secret of it, and then the world just goes absolutely mental. There's like outcries, there's like civil war, you know, like you know, like they start questioning religion and people are like, you know, killing themselves, you know, what does it mean for the universe? And like then all of a sudden Muggles are like, oh, you need to start letting us in on these schools and stuff like that. And just the kind of like the moment that it breaks, you know, like the moment that the president comes out on TV and announces it and all this sort of stuff, you know, like I thought that was a really cool idea. So do you have any ideas where you think like a series might be cool, either a movie or TV show?
I'm a huge fan of A Song of Ice and Fire. I think the books would be really like if you stayed faithful to the books, because the books, like for instance, like there's a lot of characters that are just more fleshed out. There's a lot of stuff that there's characters that are not in the show that are in the story, but particularly he put out a really cool like fake history book on the history of the Targaryens, and it's brutal. Like if you had a manga series like that, just bloody battles, dragons, I think that would be a wet dream come true. Or it's like a manga series where like this orange guy gets elected president and then kind of ruins the country, you know. That would be kind of cool. I mean honestly, I don't know, like when I think about it, I would like to see video games as manga. Like that, like,
yeah, that, I mean that's a cool one. I mean there are loads that you could probably think of that like
Bloodborne.
Like yeah, I like the idea of BioShock as well.
My god, that would be a great manga.
The setting as well, like if you take you know Rapture and that lot and you put it in a manga, how beautiful that could be. The dilemma of, you know, the girls and stuff like that, and I think that could be really, really dark, and that would be amazing if you put your own spin on that.
What's your favorite video game?
I've got a few. So I would say, so there's a game called Klonoa on PlayStation 1, which was a great one. Rolling Thunder 2 on Genesis, Streets of Rage 2, Time Splitters 2, another one as well.
That's a good game.
Trying to look at games that I've got here. Oh, Metal Gear Solid as well. The original was an absolute.
Are you pumped for Death Stranding?
I don't know what that. I don't even know what that. I don't think anybody knows what's going on.
Did you see when you piss and you grow the mushrooms and then you eat it?
I know, man. I'm like, but do you know what? I have full faith in anything Kojima does because the guy is an absolute. He's a revolutionary, and he's such a unique. Like even Phantom Pain, which was rushed through, and you know they kind of let him go halfway through that. Even that was decent, you know. And I think the only qualm that I have with Death Stranding is that cover is awful, man.
Yeah, like a bad cover.
Yeah, I'm really pumped because I'm getting my Switch comes this week as well.
What are you getting?
I'm getting the Switch Lite. So I've had 2 Nintendo Switches already, and I've sold them both. I got it day one, did the whole Breath of the Wild thing, and then there was no library for so long, and then I was like, I'm gonna get rid of it. Then I got the Switch again. Played Odyssey, Mario Kart, and everything to death. And I was like, oh, I was waiting for a new Metroid. I was waiting for everything, and it just felt like the library was dead. And then now I'm like, okay, I need to get back in because like I've already bought. So I've already got Smash ready. I'm looking at it now. I've got it sealed ready. I've got Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That's an incredible game.
That's a good game.
It's so good. It's like XCOM, but meets the Nintendo world, and it's so. If they don't make a number 2, I will riot. I've got Link's Awakening coming as well.
Dude, this last month for Switch has been Astral Chain.
Really Nintendo good. Have won. Like Nintendo have hit the ballpark with this one. Like, yeah, I mean, I've had like Mario Kart on my account, so I've got Mario Kart whenever I want that as well. But like, there's so many games coming. I want to get Dragon Quest Builders 2 as well.
That's really good.
Yeah, I've heard that's great. I want to get Astral Chain because Shuriken keeps saying to get it. He said it's mental.
It's really good.
And there's just so much good stuff like Luigi's Mansion coming out, Pokemon. You know, I'm not crazily excited about it, but I'm gonna buy it anyway just because brand loyalty and everything.
I just got Daemon X Machina, which is that.
I've heard mixed things about that. Is that good?
So here's the thing: Armor Core has never gotten a positive review. Like, if you like, I'm doing a video on Daemon X Machina, and I was doing research on Armor Core reviews, and my favorite Armor Core game has a 68 on Metacritic. So
it's like TV movies as well, man. Like, it's always the same way.
It's a very niche game. Like, it's a simulator. It
looks fleshed out though. It looks good.
Oh man! So like, the problem I think a lot of people will have with that genre is that you start off and your mech is defaulted. Like, and if you don't like the way that plays, you either are turned off instantly, you don't want to grind through and get the stuff. But you can customize the way that Daemon X Machina is. You can have 2 weapons, 1 in each hand. You have a shoulder weapon, and then you have like a second. It's not really a shoulder weapon, but it's like you can lay traps down, but it's on your shoulder. You can customize. Oh, then you have 2 guns or 2 weapons on reserve. So if you run out of bullets, you can switch the gun in the back. You can customize your head, chest, both arms, and both legs. And then on top of all that, there's like melee weapons. You know, there's grenade launchers, lasers, swords, and then there's a system because there's this mysterious energy. It's a very anime tropey story, but there's a system where you have 3 parts of the body that you can transfer energy to, and one of them is you can transfer to like your arms. That'll make your shooting or your sword stronger. You can do it around your body, which gives you like a little bit of a shield. But the thing that I love is you can basically turn that energy into wings, and you can move so much faster. And if you play like fighting games, like I've been like on Twitter looking, and a lot of the terminology people are using is like dash canceling, sword canceling, like combo canceling. Like, there's so many things that you can do, and the battles get so hectic that like my heart rate is elevated, and it's scratching an itch that I have not had scratched in 8 years. Like, Armor Core 5 Verdict Day came out I think 8 years ago on the PS3 and Xbox 360. And as a fan of mecha, like I fucking love mecha stuff. This might be my game of the year.
I think this is going to be a game that people come back to. I think it's a game that like it's that I haven't played it, but I think it's just a victim of the release schedule at the time as well. Like, it was whoever chose that day. Like, I don't normally call for people to get fired, but that was a poor choice.
Apparently, over in Japan, it's selling out. They're having stock shortages. So
yeah, I can imagine. But that's the thing. I think this is a game that
there's multiplayer, and everyone I've gotten into a game with has been Japanese people, and they're so friendly. And the multiplayer is like it's kind of like Monster Hunter. Like, there's these robots called them mortals, and they're the biggest enemies I've ever seen in a game, like ever. Just they're fucking huge, and you have to fight them with 2 other people or 3. There's 4 of you, so 3 other people, and it gets so insane, so hectic, and so overwhelming that I'm having a blast with this game. And
it's definitely a game people will eventually come back to or rediscover. They'll be like, right, my money for this month's going to Zelda or whatever. They'll come back to it, especially if that game ever gets a sale. I guarantee that'll gangbusters as well. But the thing is with the Switch, it's
gonna be a collector's item.
Now is such a good time for Nintendo. Like, there is so much good stuff to even look forward to. Like, I can't wait for Crystal Chronicles, man. Like,
Oh my god, dude! Did you play that back in the day?
yeah, I had it on my GameCube.
Oh
I used to like
man,
link it with my
I
Game Boy
remember
Advance as
Christmas
well.
one year. We all like my cousins all had our Game Boy Advances, and we played Crystal Chronicles from start to finish, like over the course of like 3 days. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah, I
game.
remember me and my brother used to sit there and we just fight with each other as well because you know I've got to work together and stuff like that. And like I absolutely love that game. And then obviously you've got Animal Crossing coming out. I need Metroid, man. Like they restarted the production on that because that's going. And then obviously they've not announced too much for next year, but I mean just
Animal
from now,
Crossing.
yeah,
And
just now until Christmas, they've got even like that Little Town Hero, which looks
actually,
interesting.
next year we're getting Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is like
Yeah, and
like
also the really, really, really exciting thing about the Switch is the fact that Witcher 3 is coming over. Not because the game's that great. Well, the game is great,
the game is
but the
phenomenal.
fact is, what that says to me is no developer has an excuse anymore not to come over to Switch. Quite frankly,
I mean, we're
if
getting
the
Overwatch now too. It's just
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like,
I don't like Overwatch though, but
it feels a little too late for me. But like, um, and honestly, I've never played it. But the fact that you can get The Witcher 3 to perform well on a Switch in handheld, anything can come over, you know. Like, there's no reason why these. And I think a lot of developers are starting to look at the Switch now, going, this is a legit thing now. This isn't just some gimmick or whatever. This is a real deal, and it's selling like crazy.
there's only one game from the Wii U left that I hope gets ported, which is Xenoblade Chronicles X. That's
Apparently, we're meant to be getting Pikmin as well, aren't we? Over on
Pikmin.
like,
They're remastering Xenoblade Chronicles One from
yeah,
like the ground up, which is just mind
yeah.
blowing.
I didn't see that one coming at the end of the direct. Because up until that point, I was like, this is the direct that we didn't need because there was nothing really new per se. Like everything that needed to come out had already been leaked or
And
whatever. And
then
then
Divinity Original Sin 2 just dropped that day. That is one of the best RPGs ever. And
I'll tell
that's
you what
just
looks really good though is that Kirby Smash game.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
a free to thing. I mean, I'll try it, but and they've got the new Dragon Quest as well, which you can play in retro style or the new graphic
I
version as
bought
well.
I bought that on PS4 launch day, uh, and played maybe a couple hours, and then I was like, "Fuck, the Switch version's coming out too." And then now I got that pre-ordered. So, I think the Switch is the only console. I don't know if it's because it's the retro idea of a cartridge, but it's
Mm.
the only console that like I'm trying to buy every physical game that I would want. Like,
I think you have well, first of all, you have the resale value. I think you're crazy because until there was a point like if every you can go on the e-store and buy Zelda now for £59.99. Why? You know, like go and buy the physical for £40 and be able to resell it because Nintendo games, unlike any other console,
yep.
holds its value. Like there's just like you can go out the Division 2 a week after it came out, you can buy it for like £20. Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, still sells for near retail value.
Will never go down.
Yeah,
Never.
and it's the same for anything like Smash, expensive, even Mario Kart. Like those games just hold on to those value, and
And is region free. So
well, it's a huge thing. I remember when we were in Japan, I was looking at everything. I was like, damn, like I remember like I'm Setsuna and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, like at the time, I don't know if it's got a physical release here, but I remember at the time it didn't. Because this was 2017, we were in Japan in March, and I just remember looking at all this stuff, and I was like, oh my god, it's just like walls of Switch stuff. But like for even now, like I've got an Xbox. I have not played a single game on Xbox in about 2-3 years. Now it's just like Switch and PC. That's it. Like
I still have my PS4 for the JRPG physical stuff, like because that's like mostly what I'm interested in is the JRPGs. But man, like when something doesn't come to Switch, I'm just like, why?
or it
Especially
does.
when
It
it's
just comes
something
too
like
late.
Persona 5, like when they were teasing a Persona game on the Switch and ended up being that Dynasty Warriors knockoff. I was so
Yeah.
upset, dude. That's one of
I tell you what, I'm really excited about though is Streets of Rage 4.
yeah.
I don't know if you're a Streets change. I mean, the art style's going to be a bit weird getting used to, but like Streets of Rage, that I grew up that was my shit. Like that's my thing. So I can't wait to see how that comes out. But yeah, like I'm just so excited. Like I've got to wait this whole week. It comes out on Friday. I'm just sitting there waiting. just for the door to knock, to get my
There's
Switch
so
Lite,
many
man.
games. And then next year, what we got? Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy VII remake
That
within
remake, yeah.
within like a month or so of each other.
And then there's the new Baldur's Gate as well, apparently.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to be a fan of gaming, man.
You
Like
know what sucks is that we're old and we don't have time. And next year you guys are gonna have a kid, so you better.
This is the thing, though. Like, you get older, you get more money, but you get less time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cruel world, man. It's a cruel world. But
sucks,
that's the thing with the Switch, man. Like, play that shit on the train or wherever it is.
Exactly.
But,
like when every single day I take my Switch to work. Like it's like I take my briefcase, I take my Switch, and even if I only have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I can crank out a mission in Daemon X Machina or do something in Astral Chain. But that's what I love about it, is that you're getting. Even though if people who complain, or not complain, but like brag about their console's graphics,
it means nothing, man.
It means nothing.
Like my computer, like, so I built my own PC. I just recently put like a new RTX ray tracing card in there. I can play everything up. I can play probably 4K 60 FPS at the moment. I can introduce ray tracing, but it means jack shit because I still play Rocket League. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all about the game. If the game's no good, then I don't care. I had the Division 2, looked stunning, played like shit. Like it doesn't even matter. So that's why people moan about, handheld, it's only 720p. I'm like, but you're playing Nintendo first party titles, like, and they are the best games.
Or people bitching about the Witcher 3. I'm like, you have the Witcher 3 portable. Like, what are you guys like? Yeah, it's gonna look kind of rough, but I'll trade that for.
Yeah, it makes no sense when people talk shit about stuff like that, because it's the option. Like, yeah, if you don't want to pay the money for it, just go buy it for £10 on PlayStation instead. Then it doesn't make a difference. But the thing is I can sit in a car and play this shit. You can't. So how good your graphics look now? Do you know what I mean? Like,
when the baby was young. She would only fall asleep if we drove around. So I remember some nights I didn't want to drive, so Taylor would drive, and I would be in the passenger side. I would hook up my phone and I would play like Fortnite, like while we're just driving around on the Switch, just having fun, and just like I have like, I don't know, like, it sounds stupid, but like emotional memories of like playing the Switch, having talks with my wife while our baby's asleep in the back seat. Like, it's a pretty special console.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it only harpens back to kind of like the Game Boy Color. Like, there's certain things that like are special, and they are. I mean, as an adult, you don't get as emotionally connected to games like you would have back in the day. Like, I remember playing Link's Awakening DX and playing Pokemon Red and stuff, and I'll always remember I remember how I felt as a kid in a certain room at one point. And now games, like, because you play, there's just so many. You've got the money, everything's not as special anymore. I kind of liken it to McDonald's, like when you were a kid and then your parents would be like, right, we're going to McDonald's. You'd be like, yeah, fucking yes. Now you go to McDonald's whenever you want. You're like, oh man, I'm going to McDonald's, man. This sucks. It's kind of like that with video gaming. So there's not many things that are so special to you, but I feel like there are things that are coming back like that. And I know that we're in a nostalgic time. There's a lot of like remakes happening right now, which for people like us is a dream come true. Like Link's Awakening, I must have put in, like, at least 100 hours. Yeah. Yeah, I honestly, I'd say up there with probably Ocarina of Time for me. Those two side by side, I can't edge either one. But
you should do game videos, man.
I've wanted to, man. I tried to introduce them slightly on the channel.
You have a passion in your voice for games that it's like, I mean, you're passionate about manga, but like you're getting so giddy about games.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I've tried to introduce it slowly on the channel, but it is hard. But like, I mean that. Yeah, I mean, video games is oh man, like it was such a part of me growing up, and a lot of us as well. And I think that no matter, even if you stop playing games, you will still have a little bit that you're harping back to as a kid. So even like if you're a businessman that doesn't play games anymore, you still played GoldenEye on N64 or whatever. So you're still gonna have that, like, man, do you remember playing throwing knives and Complex or whatever? Like you still have those little things, or Ocarina of Time, or even if it was prior to that with you're playing, whatever it was on Super Nintendo.
I had a room in the back of the restaurant at Super Nintendo, and I had Zombies Ate My Neighbors and A Link to the Past, and those are two of my favorite games of all time now. Like I've probably beaten A Link to the Past 100 times, like easily, just as a kid.
I've actually, yeah, I've got that somewhere. I've got I've got the Famicom version of Legend of Zelda there as well. I've got like Double Dragon here. Like I've got here are some cool things that you, as a Nintendo fan, you might appreciate. So I've got
oh my god!
I've got a sealed Dragon Quest there as well.
You got those in Japan?
Yeah, I've got a sealed Diddy Kong Racing as well.
Are you ever gonna play
Romancing
this?
Saga? Yeah, man. Like, there's so many. I've even got like old like Dragon Ball games and stuff like that. Like, yeah, man. Like, it was
Where
bad.
Do you keep
obsessed,
pulling
like,
these games out of? You just like.
No, it's because back pocket. No, it's because I'm actually selling quite a lot at the moment, just downsizing, because I'm trying to do the same thing like I am with Manga as well. Like I'm trying to just keep like a small, real like special kind of group of games. So I'm selling a lot of stuff. So I've got like a little area where like, cause I've been like postaging up a lot of stuff. So they're just like sat here by my desk and stuff like that. So I've been like,
if you have time, give me a list of games like JRPGs that you have. I might buy one.
Well, to be fair, they're the ones that sell the best. I don't even know if I've got many left anymore, because they are the ones that are like, they never lose value almost, and because they're such a people. That's why Final Fantasy games will always be valuable. You know, Dragon Quest, Fire Emblem, those kind of games, even like Romancing Saga and stuff like that. People will always hold them dear, because they've just been consistent. It's the same like the Mega Man series as well. You know, like there are series that people just adore. And they'll always be valuable. So those ones they just move. There were times where like I put them up on eBay, and within 10 minutes they've been bought, and I'm like, damn, I put that up too cheap. You know?
I just saw that the Dreamcast turned 20, and then doing some research on the Dreamcast, because I'm a big fan of like shoot 'em ups. There's like a whole homebrew shoot 'em up scene still going on for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I've actually got my Dreamcast is hooked up in my lounge. It was such a criminally underrated one. It was such a shame that was the last time Sega put anything out. It was the whole piracy thing that really killed that machine off, because they tried to, I think it was like the GDUs, they tried to use their discs format as, and then people just started pirating them, and then once the cat's out of the bag, it's too late. But they had such good games on that system, man. The shoot 'em ups, the home people will still make Dreamcast games now.
Yeah,
and it had it online. I mean, like Phantasy Star Online, like you can technically still play that game because they've got the broadband connector now as well. So I mean, like, it was so good. And even just like the simple games like Choo Choo Rocket, I used to love. Wacky Races.
Isn't Choo Choo Rocket getting a sequel? Did you see that?
It's
coming out. It's coming out on Apple Arcade. Choo Choo Rocket's getting an Apple Arcade game.
Oh, come on, come to the Switch or something, man. Choo Choo Rocket was such a good puzzle game, man. Like, it had something about it, and like it had like the Toy Racer series as well. You know, like there was so many good games. Trick Style, that was criminally underrated, that system. The controller was a bit shit. The VMU kind of thing inside it though was cool. But yeah, I mean, for me though, like, I was such a Sega boy. The Mega Drive, or Genesis as you guys called it, that's still to this day. It was the sound. It was a dirty console, you know. It was just beautiful, man. We got Blood. We had all the best versions of all the games, you know. Sonic the Hedgehog as well, man.
Well, dude, let's wrap this up because this has been 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
which is every time we talk, it's a 2-hour ordeal.
Well, apparently this is like quite short for your podcast now. I mean, last time we did one on my channel, we went quite a while, but you're going for marathons these days. So
I mean, that was just a one-time thing, and man, dude, Taylor was pissed because we were supposed to watch a movie or something, and she goes, "How long are you gonna be?" I'm like, "Maybe an hour," and then I came to bed, and she was like, "Flipo, it's been 4 hours," and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, "Oh man." But dude, thank you so much. Seriously,
pleasure, man. Anytime.
Allonsyy, I almost called you by your first name, so I didn't know if people.
Oh no, people know it's all good, man.
Alex, this is awesome, dude. Thank you.
Man.
Congratulations on getting married.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And thank you for dropping the world exclusive that you're doing a manga.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of excited. I didn't actually even think about it until we started talking about it. So
So is this cool if this goes up like right away?
yeah, if you want to, yeah, you go for it.
Okay.
I'm kind of gonna record a video this week about it. So yeah, it should all be good,
So
man.
I'm probably going to upload this like while like I'm gonna have it on private and then upload it on the computer and then go to bed and wake up and hit publish.
Yeah,
So
go for it, man. But yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. Always got time in the day for you, man.
I
Like,
was I was telling Brian, I'm like, I would love to do something with just the three of us because I think the three of us have a really good chemistry.
yeah, we need to all get on the same. We need to do like a podcast or something. Get us all on there and have a couple hours on there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but all three of our schedules are just opposite. Like it's 4:30 in the morning here.
Yeah, it's meant. I mean, well, it's 10:26 here,
and I'm in so much pain right now too. My back's been out for 2 weeks. I fell down the stairs, and
oh man,
I can barely move. But still gotta work. So
gotta grind, man. But yeah, we need to try and organize something. I can convince Brian to stay up or do something. But then it's your working, if anything. Like I'm lucky because I'm here in the office day in, day out, so I can kind of.
What do you do for work?
So I'm in insurance, so I work remotely, so that's why like I'm probably gave me a bit of an advantage in like being able to do videos and stuff because I can just work around it. I just go fuck it, I'll just work later and push everything. So rather than start at like 9 when you would start, I'll just work after we're done. So I can kind of do that. So my schedule's always pretty okay. But I try not to do it in my wife's home because noise and stuff like that. But yeah, it's always trying to like work around other people, really.
Yeah, and dude, that's the worst part about being a grown up. You know,
Got to pay them bills. You got to do everything first because one day this all goes away. You got to be left with something, right?
Yeah, that's true. I do wanna like I don't know, maybe get Brian and go over to you guys and visit everybody. Do like a big meetup. Like Callum, Zach, Hannah.
We can do it. I mean, Zach's only 2 hours away from me. So we're probably gonna have to arrange something soon. Callum's about 3.5. Hannah's a little bit further away, but it's only a 45-minute plane journey if she wants to take it.
That's not bad.
So I mean, yeah, I'd love to, and obviously
we should.
I'd love to. Like that would be like the best party ever, man. Like
it'd be the best. It'd be the best if we rented a car and just went around Europe.
Just... Oh my god, could you imagine, mate? That'd be insane. We just got like a people carrier sized car, just went round, and just oh my god, yeah. Let's make that happen.
We should actually plan that out. That would be insane. I'm free every August, so
Oh mate, I'm so for it. Imagine just pulling into Germany, Spain, Italy, whatever. And obviously you guys need to come to UK. We need to show you around and stuff like that, and we need to kind of wet the beaks with you guys a little bit as well. See what you can.
Every single year we get 2 weeks off of work, so we should actually try to do something where I can come and hang out with you guys. Or I definitely want to bring Brian along because I don't want to be the only American.
Well, technically Zach's Canadian, so I know it's not the same.
He's up north.
But he's one of us now anyway.
Yeah, he is. He is one of you guys.
Yeah, he's got the humor down. So, but yeah, man, like this has been a pleasure, man. So yeah, everyone watching, thanks if you've made it this far, man.
Yeah, seriously, if you guys have made it to this far, I'm like not even making sense. I'm so tired. But thank you again, Alex. It's always a pleasure, brother.
Pleasure, man.
And go sub to him, and follow him on Twitter, which is at Allonsyy_.
That's the one, man. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. And next up, we'll have Justin Savakis. Peace.